Hi, this is Faith, and you are watching The Faith Factor. Holla. All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. It's been a while since I did one of these. This is Faith, and you are watching The Faith Factor. And this is going to be a morning show podcast style. So you're going to see me not hammed up today because this isn't a show, but this is just me coming on to discuss some things that I wanted to talk about that I had on my mind. Okay, but you see the title of the video. The title of the video is A Better Class of Women, in particularly a better class of Black women, because I talk about community issues, especially when it comes to Black people. Okay, and part of Black women empowerment, as I always tell women, this is taking self-accountability so that you can grow and become the best person that you can be. So, before I get started, I know that there are some people filing in. I just want to, make sure that I give you time, as always, to get in here, because I got some things that I definitely got to get off my mind. It's not going to be popular, but then again, I never have a popular opinion and don't give a damn who doesn't like my opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them. Okay. But before I get into my segments, I was, reading up on a lot of celebrity news, celebrity gossip. A couple of Black women came across my news feed. One of them being Cheryl Underwood. I don't know if any of you have read any recent articles about her, but she came across this morning. And the other lady, I forget her name. She played in How to Get Away with Murder. The other dark-skinned Black woman, I keep forgetting what her name is, but she was in the news recently. She recently did an interview on Oprah. I'm going to remember her name, guys. Bear with me as my old age dementia sets in. But first up, I want to talk about Cheryl, because I think that the article that I read on her today is significant to what I'm going to discuss this morning. But Cheryl, she's been in Hollywood for a number of years. She's been on The View. She's had a pretty successful run with The View and in her career in that organization. So, I really love to see any Black woman doing good. But it has come to my attention that a lot of other Black celebrities really don't fuck with Cheryl like that. They really don't. And I think I know why. And see, here's the thing. Cheryl, to me, her comedy has never really been that funny to me. And that's probably the reason why she was not invited to be on any of the Queens of Comedy series. But I was looking at some of her backstory, and she claimed that the producer of the Queens of Comedy did actually send her an invite to participate in that series. But she said that when she went to go and participate in the conference call, to get the particulars of what, the situation was going to be, what the pay and all that type of stuff, she was on the conference call, and she heard Monique and some more and Adele on the conference call, and she claims she overheard them talking about her. And she said, in overhearing what they were saying, she said that they were saying things about her appearance, that she's not very funny, which I don't think she's very funny either. And what can she offer to a Queens of Comedy tour, so on and so forth. So long story short, Cheryl decided not to do the Queens of Comedy tour because she didn't feel as if that she would be in good company. And that's, that's totally up to her. That's totally up to her. Myself, I would not have passed up on that paycheck. Fuck them bitches. I would have been about making my money and getting my name out there. But, she felt comfortable in her own lane as being a talk show host amongst other people on The View, mostly white folks and, folks that don't look like her. So, hey, it is what it is. She can do what the hell she wants to do. But the thing about Cheryl, and the reason why a lot of Black female celebrities especially find her problematic, is some of the things that she has said about her own Blackness and her own features, her self-hatred issues. Like there was a segment one time where she was on a show, and there was a white woman that had biracial children, and the children had very, very coarse hair. And the lady said that when she cut her children's hair, she said she would save the hair in a Ziploc bag. And Cheryl went on to say how nasty that was. Like, who wants to save nappy, kinky, cuckabuggy, 4C hair? So she was just basically calling our hair nasty. Okay? And so this was problematic for me. And I noticed she was just trying to make a joke out of it. And it was not funny. Like I said, Cheryl is not funny to me. And I thought the joke was in poor taste. So then there was another white woman who also was on the stage with her. And she said, well, I cut my children's hair too. And I also saved lots of their hair. And she turned to this woman and she said, well, it's probably that beautiful silky stuff, is what she said to the other white woman who had children who did not have 4C hair. And see, this is problematic. Cheryl has been caught making self-deprecating jokes against herself and her Afrocentric features and against the African-American community as a whole. And this is the reason why a lot of other comedians and, Black celebrities don't really fuck with Cheryl like that. And Cheryl has nobody but herself to blame. Cheryl has done nothing to open doors for other Black female comedians. She has done nothing with her platform in order to promote anything having to do with the upliftment of Black people. But instead, she decides to use her platform to talk bad on other Black people. And this is the reason why I have no respect for Cheryl or her line of work. None whatsoever. So I felt it important to start my live stream out talking about celebrities like Cheryl, because this is going to segue me into the title of this video, which is a better class of women, particularly Black women. And then there's the other Black female actress. She's an actress. I forget her name. God, I wish you guys, if anybody could help me out with her name. But she was the actress that played in How to Get Away with Murder. And she also played in, I believe it was The Maid. So I forget the name of that movie, where she played a maid, where she says, use kind and you're you're beautiful and you're nice and all this other stuff. But she played a mammy as maid. I forget the name of this woman, but she was also recently in the news, and she recently did an interview on Oprah. And the thing that caught me about her is that she had talked about her struggles in Hollywood. Viola, Q Savage, thank you so much. Q Savage says Viola Davis. Viola Davis is who I'm talking about. Now, she has had a very successful career. She has been very blessed in Hollywood as a dark-skinned Black actress. Okay, and Viola Davis is the complete opposite of Cheryl Underwood, because Viola Davis is not only an actress, but I found out that she is a writer and a producer. And see, with Viola Davis, she has actually tried to knock open doors for dark-skinned actresses like herself, older dark-skinned actresses. Give us something more to play in movie roles than just maids and slaves. She has done this. She has been very vocal in the industry, and she has spoken out many times about the racism and the aggressions and microaggressions that she has experienced in the industry. And she continues to forge on to kick open doors for other dark-skinned Black female actresses. And she does so unapologetically. And so this is a Black woman that I have a lot of respect for, because when you're going up against the establishment, let me tell you, in none of these establishments do we have anything set up in. So imagine going into something where you and your people have nothing set up in and trying to gain equality and equal treatment. And this is what Miss Viola Davis has come up against, and she was still able to be successful and respected in the industry. Whereas Cheryl is a go along to get along negress. Okay? Go along to get along. Does not hesitate to throw her own Blackness and her own Black group of people under the bus for a few laughs and a spot on a TV show that she could be pretty much replaced on at any moment of any time. But because she stays kissing white ass, they keep her on there. But Viola Davis is a little bit different. Now, you know, she says herself, she doesn't really push the limits because she understands what her position is as a Black woman, and especially a dark-skinned Black woman in Hollywood. But she does not hesitate to speak up whenever the chance arises for her to speak up. And she talked about how, I believe one of the producers, when she was working on the show How to Get Away with Murder, would often call her by a different name. And so she would often wonder, why was he always getting her name wrong? He would call her Juanita or some name or another. I forget what she called the name. And she would often have to correct him and say, no, you know, I'm not Viola. Then after a while, she just let it go. And so it came to her attention that this white male producer, this is a white male. So for all you divestors out here talking about the grass is always greener, I'm not talking against dating out, but please, when you're talking about divesting, please remember these types of stories too, when you're talking about it. Because Viola said that this white male producer called her by this other name. And for years, she wondered why. And come to find out, he was calling her by his maid's name, his Black maid. So this is what he thought of Viola. And there are many of them like him out there. And so Viola was saying that these are the microaggressions that she had to deal with in Hollywood. The microaggressions that always come with being a dark-skinned Black female actress. And so she declined to do any more slave roles, any more roles playing maids. She proactively sought to do roles that would highlight her unique talents as an actress, and not because she fit a particular stereotype. And she said it's very difficult to do so. There was another dark-skinned Black female actress that also went this route. I don't recall the woman's name, but she was the dark-skinned friend on Living Single that played the lawyer friend. She also declined roles where they were asking her to play a slave, because these were the only roles that they wanted to give to dark-skinned Black female actresses. As if we can't be damsels in distress. We can't be the women that need to be rescued. We can't be the heroine, but always the maid, always the slave. That's all they would give dark-skinned Black female actresses. Or the crackhead. Let's not forget that. And so when I see women like Cheryl Underwood, who do nothing but uplift all the stereotypes of the jigaboom, fat, loudmouth, step and fetch it Black mammy, and she doesn't even play one, okay? She's one in real life on The View. She holds up those stereotypes and does nothing for the furtherment of dark-skinned Black women, actresses, and comedians. Whereas Viola Davis is catching hell and working hard. She's dealing with aggressions and microaggressions, but she still sticks her neck out for dark-skinned actresses to get better roles. And so I want to lay out these two women so that you can see the difference between the two classes of women. One is a buffoon, and the other one is a heroine. And I'm telling you, we need more heroic Black women in the community. We need a better class of Black women in the community like Viola Davis. Unafraid, unapologetic, and willing to stick the neck out so that other women who look like her can succeed. We got too many mammies out here that want to close the doors on other Black women, especially other younger Black women. And so they will purposely close doors and purposely make things harder for you because they don't like themselves and they don't like their experience as a Black woman. So they do nothing to change the experience for themselves, and they do nothing to change the experience for the next generation. And that is the reason why Black women like Cheryl Underwood, they need to be kicked to the curb and ignored. All right, so I see that a lot of folks have filed in today. Let me go ahead and say hello to all of my early birds. I have Jim Jewel is the very first person to comment in the comment section today. Hello, Jim. Welcome, welcome. I am pretty damn gangster, says good day, Faith. A bit tired. Hey, what's up, sis? I am Allison in Wonderland, and we also Q Savage from earlier. Sincere Saida. What's up, lady? And Reigning Womb Man. Welcome, everybody. These are my early birds checking in. All right, so now I'm going to delve into the meat of the conversation that I'd like to have with you guys today, because we do need a better class of women. And I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that's been going on around Black YouTube as an example as to what this is playing out online and in real life. I was doing a lot of talking with my co-host CK. We're going to start putting out some videos going into more detail about the Motherhood as well. Because, see, there has been a misconception about a lot of the terminologies that's been thrown out here. Now, I don't plan to make this a long one. I really don't. But I'm going to take my time with this, nevertheless, because I feel that this is a very important message that needs to get out. Now, I understand we love the beef. We love to talk shit to each other. We love to get in each other's faces. Ain't nothing like a good cat fight in the Black YouTube community. And for those that like that, we have a sector just for that called the beef sector. Okay? We have a sector for that. And so if I want to hear some, good fighting, good cussing, good, signifying and name calling, I go over to the beef section. And I get my entertainment in the WWE arena of Black YouTube. That's what I call it. Now, this sector that I'm in is the Black sector of YouTube. And here you have your pro-Blacks, you have your political Blacks, you have your Black people that just talk about community issues like myself. So you have the Black sector of YouTube. And there's a difference between the beef sector and the Black sector. Now, me, myself, I am not the type of content creator that likes to go WWE style with my content. And this is not a put down to those content creators that like that. Everybody has their lane. I stay in mine. Doesn't mean that I don't go over to visit sometimes, because I like to support all Black content creators if I can. And that just has been my mantra this entire time. If anybody has ever listened to me for any time, you've heard me say this over and over again. So just because you might see me over in a beef sector does not mean that Faith is a beefer. Because you're not going to see Faith running up on a beef panel. I'm just not going to do it. But getting to the meat of what I want to talk about, a better class of women. It has been a long, long time that I have been thinking that Black women, we don't want to take accountability for some of the stuff, for some of the foolishness that we all see some of us partaking in these YouTube streets and in real life. We have stories of foolishness, and we all seem to want to make up an excuse for the bad behaviors of a lot of these women. And so, in me paying attention to Black women, wanting Black men to be held accountable for everything, in which they should be held accountable for things they need to be held accountable for. Nobody's saying that they shouldn't, because I'll sit up here and hold a nigga accountable in a minute, especially when they talking about pumping and dumping, and then the pumping and dumping results in you creating a child that you don't want to take care of. No, nigga, you got to be held accountable. Don't sit up here and say that she should have been on birth control when your ass should have damn well been protecting your own penis too. So there are things that we need to hold both sexes accountable for. Most definitely. Because you got some degenerate women out here that will set a Negro up, and you got some degenerate men that will purposely set a woman up. And they all have their reasons. So it's to everybody's own best interest that you protect yourselves in those situations. But what really, really burns me is that when I get online and I hear women hollering about protection. These men don't protect us. Or you talk about you don't have protection from the community at large. And while it's true that we got some punk ass, cowardly Negroes running around here, some of them don't want the environment to be safe because they're predators themselves. We also got some punk ass, cowardly nigresses running around here. And they don't want the environment to be safe. And as a matter of fact, some of you negresses are predatory your damn selves. Some of you want the environment to be safe, but you want it to be safe when you're in the midst of doing your whole life activities. And so what ends up happening is we go down a slippery slope of a lot of shaming language. Oh, you not protecting me. Well, how can I protect you, sister, when you constantly running out here, you're hanging with the same group of people that we told you not to hang out with because they trashy and they known for setting motherfuckers up. But you choose to go that route. So some of you want protection while you're out here participating in some risky behavior. And see, we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about that enough. I remember back when I was younger, like in my 20s, and I would go out sometimes with my girlfriends, and I had this one girlfriend named Raquel, and she would get drunk every rip. So I knew I couldn't really, enjoy too much drinking myself because I had to protect this heifer because she didn't just get tipsy. Where you get a little buzzed. There's nothing wrong with a little buzz. But she would get stinking ass drunk to the point where she pissing on herself, falling all over people, got her legs up in the air. One time, this girl was out taking her damn clothes off on the dance floor. And the rest of us was constantly on protect a dumb bitch duty. Now, let's talk about protect a dumb bitch duty. Because, see, this is what a lot of you are talking about when you call for protection from the community and Black men. You want the community and Black men to protect you while you out here doing dumb bitch shit. And after a while, after me and the rest of our friends were sitting up here fighting niggas off of this dumb bitch because she couldn't stop taking her clothes off, take her panties off, and show her booty in front of a nigga's face. She did that one night. She was doing dumb bitch shit over and over again, and we had to always run and protect her dumb ass. And her excuse when we used to get in her ass about her behavior, her whole like behavior, we were getting her ass about it. Why you out here acting like this? Her excuse, well, I got a drinking problem. I'm attending AA meetings. I'm trying to fix myself. I can't help it. I've been like this for years. Y'all know me. There's always the excuses as to why she doing the whole like behavior. And why we have to be understanding and always run to her rescue. And so that puts a drain on the people that care about you, and it puts a drain on the community. And so this is the reason why I want to talk about a better class of women. Because I'm seeing a lot of Black women come on here and do the same exact thing. The shaming language. Oh, I'm a victim. Even though I constantly put myself in a situation to be victimized. Now, I've said this on several occasions. Fool me once, shame on you. But you fooled me twice. That's on me. But I find that there's a lot of Black women that don't like self-accountability. We like running into the arms of other Black women that will coddle us and make excuses for our bad behavior. We like this. So I got tired of coddling Raquel because I was no longer having fun when I go out with her. So now, Raquel, whenever I go out, you're not invited. If you have a drinking problem, then you don't need to be going nowhere with us where they're serving alcohol because you can't control yourself. I laid it out to her. And me and the rest of our friends, we got together and we banded together on that. Because we were tired. Tired of protecting her. You pass out drunk. And I look around and it's a swarm of niggas around you because you done took your clothes off and got your titties hanging out. And now we got to fight through the mix of these niggas to get your ass up out of there. Because this is a regular thing with you. But we got to be understanding of your alcoholism problem. I don't think so. You're tacky, you lack class, you don't care about yourself, and you obviously don't care about the rest of us. And it's about time that we be honest with each other when we see that type of behavior. Oh, a lot of folks don't like that. Oh, I lost a whole lot of people with that one. Oh, Faith talking about self-accountability. She not gonna constantly save her drunk ass friend that like to take her clothes off and get naked in the club. She not gonna have compassion. No, I don't. Not anymore. Because now you put me in a situation and you constantly putting yourself in a bad situation because you constantly making bad decisions, and I'm no able you, sis. But I will give you this truth. Get your shit together. Get your shit together. And that's something that a lot of us don't do enough of. We got so many Black women running around the community with 1,000,001 excuses for their Jezebel behavior. And see, that's the one term that you won't hear a lot of Black women speaking on. We'll call each other mammies. We'll call each other pick-me-shas. Male identified. But we're not going to talk about bimbo, hoe, or Jezebel behavior. Just think about that for a second. And if you bring up the words bimbo, if you bring up the word hoe, if you bring up the word Jezebel, you're shamed into silence because you as another Black woman shouldn't be talking about other Black women in this manner. And I'm here to tell you right now today, I am not talking about Black women when I refer to hoes, bimbos, and Jezebels. I am talking to Black females because Black women do not exhibit that behavior. And it's time that we draw a line in the sand because I'm sick and tired of having to make excuses for y'all. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't do half the shit you bitches be on here doing or out here doing. But then you expect me to cover for your behind. I got to cover for your Jezebel, hoe-like, bimbo behavior. Oh, let's count the ways of how we cover for Black women, some of us that exhibit these behaviors. Well, just recently, we had a Black woman exhibiting Jezebel behavior. I'm just going to call it what it is. And she wanted to hide under the guise of mental illness. But never mind that not all people that have that mental illness act that way. And me, myself, having a daughter who's in her 20s, she's 24 now, she don't act that way. So how can I say that this mental illness causes you to act that way when I know it's a damn lie? Then we move the goalposts even further. This is the lengths in which we are willing to cover for the bad behaviors of other Black women. And I'm telling you, the reason we do this is because some of us are thinking to ourselves, well, I'm going to take responsibility and I'm going to coddle and make an excuse for this sister because it looks bad if I hold her accountable in front of everybody, because then that will open the floodgates for Black men to start bashing us more than they already are. So we get on here and pretend we for this bullshit. And we give other women the false impression that acting this way is okay and that Black women don't have to take accountability for nothing. Celine says, I don't do babies out of wedlock. And that's good, Celine. I think that that's very good practice. However, if a woman is fertile and she finds that she, has had a child, I don't demonize women for being fertile and having children. I don't. If you're a good person, if you're a good mother, and if you're handling your business and taking care of your children, that's not on me. That's on you. The only time I will bash a woman that has children is if that woman is not a good mother. But I'm talking about certain behaviors in the community that can cause harm to other Black women if other Black women are left to think that those behaviors are okay. Like my earlier example of my friend getting drunk in the club, so sloppy drunk that she's pissing on herself and removing her clothes and exposing herself in front of everybody and putting herself in a position where she might be hurt. and not doing it just one time. I can understand if you get, toe down drunk one time, but this is a regular occurrence with this person. And they want you to make an exception for them because, I suffer from alcoholism. Well, if you suffer from alcoholism, you don't need to be coming out with us to the club where they're serving alcohol. You need to stay your behind at home. If this is how you're going to act every time, I'm not going to cover for you anymore. Exactly, Celine. I don't like irresponsibility either. Now, that is something that you have touched on. And it is irresponsible to have children and not have a solid plan for how you're going to take care of those children. And leaning on welfare and public assistance is not a good solid plan for that. And also, if you're going to be doing it alone, you have to make sure that you have a good support system. I am not against women having children on their own if they want to, but make sure that you can afford it and make sure you have a support system is all I'm saying. But back to what I was saying about the irresponsibility of making excuses for bad behavior of other women. If you excuse a woman that has a child out of wedlock and clearly she was not ready for this child, clearly she has no support system, then hold her accountable. If you see a sister that's out here and she's constantly a victim of somebody groping her or sexually assaulting her, she is a victim because nobody has a right to do that. But if her behavior puts her at a higher risk of being victimized, then she has to hold herself accountable for the risky behavior. And that is not victim blaming. That's saying, hey, sis, don't be out here getting toe down drunk to the point where you're pissing on yourself and removing your clothes, talking about you hot. Because this may put you at a higher risk of something bad happening to you. That is not victim blaming. Nobody should be assaulting anybody. But if this one person always find themselves in a position where they're a victim, look at the behavior. There are certain things that I will not do because I know that if I put myself in certain situations, there is going to be a higher chance that I might become a victim. And that doesn't mean that if I do get victimized that I deserved it, but it just means that there are things that I can do to help try to prevent victimization. And if you don't care about yourself, then why should I care? If you out here and you don't care that you getting toe down drunk and you're around a group of guys that are just trashy and we know they trashy, and you're constantly being victimized by these types because this is the behavior that you engage in over and over again, at some point, you're going to have to take accountability for why you keep putting yourself in those situations. And no, that's not being a mammy. And that's the other thing. We throw around this term mammy all willy-nilly. So, good old Faith like to go and do her research and look up these terms that we like to throw around so I can find out what the origin of mammy is. And mammy is basically a Black woman who was on the plantation, and her primary job was to take care of the white family, primarily the lady of the house, the mistress of the house, and her children. So basically, the mammy is a figure who was set up to basically defer to white supremacy. She is to defer to the white establishment. So everything that she does is for her master and her mistress. She can even have children and a family of her own. But the first family that she is responsible for is the white family that she works for, to the point where she is even neglectful to her own children in her own household. The mammy, as we all like to call it, is oftentimes sassy. She doles out a lot of advice, but her advice, her nurturing, her pithy words of wisdom is usually saved for the white family. That is her first priority. She neglects and she abuses her own family. And she tends to be very hostile towards men. So the mammy doesn't even like men. She's passively aggressively hostile towards the white man. And she is aggressively hostile towards the black man. That is your mammy in a nutshell. And so now the next thing I'm going to say may start a war, but I don't give a shit. Because based off of this definition of what a mammy is, any black woman that loves black men, well, she can't be a mammy. Any woman that loves men in general can't be a mammy. Actually, the people that fit the definition of mammy, dun 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 dun, the mammy definition actually fits the divestors. Oh my God. Oh, gas. Yes. By the definition that I just gave you, the mammy actually befits most divestors. Because when you listen to most divestors, they defer all the time to the white establishment. They defer to white male leadership. They defer to a Euro standard of beauty. And they are quite hostile towards black men. So the definition that I just gave you is not a definition that befits women like myself. Go figure. Ain't it something when you actually go and do a little research and you find out the goddamn truth? Yes, Joe W., the mammy doesn't like herself in most cases. That's the reason why I gave the example of Cheryl Underwood earlier and her mammy behavior throughout her career. Viola Davis is a better class of woman than Cheryl Underwood. And this is why I keep telling you, ladies, you got to draw the line. I know that you all want to be friends with each other. I know that you all want to coddle each other when we're feeling down about something, when you see your sister crying and hurt, you want to run to her and pat her and tell her everything's going to be all right. But what you're doing is you're enabling the bad behavior to continue when you do not also tell your sister, hey, sis, some of the things that you're doing is causing a lot of the pain that you're experiencing. See, when you neglect to do that, we continue to pump out this low class of women because we won't hold each other accountable for shit. And at the expense of sounding like Miss Kendra D, Crimson Cure, she got that right. She got that part right. Jim Jewell, I have not seen Viola's portrayal of Michelle Obama. So I can't really give you an accurate view on that as of yet. I haven't seen it. But I'm tired of Black women moving the goalposts and going above and beyond to make excuses for bad behavior. So now we had a sister on here. She first made an excuse that she acts the way she acts because of her mental illness. Then she moved the goalpost towards, oh, I'm a millennial, and millennials, this is what we do. And this is in reference to sending out nudes to men that you barely know. This is in reference to that. So we moved the goalpost from I got a mental illness, so give me some grace, even though I know quite a few people because I'm part of the autism community because I raised a daughter for 20 plus years and still going through it with her. We're still in the autism community. She has an actual diagnosis. And there are very few people in that community that are as trusting as this person to be partaking in that risky behavior. Not many of them do that. So you're not going to get coddled from the faith factor in your wrongdoing. What happened to you was tragic. What those people did to you was wrong. But if I start seeing other people come forth and they're me tooing the hell out of you, sis, let me tell you, they are me tooing you. When other men come out and say, I received some titty pics too, they are me tooing you. So now the whole excuse of I was in love and thought I was in a relationship. I have a mental health condition, and the very latest excuse, I'm a millennial. That's what we do. That is a slap in the face to all millennials that got better sense than that. My sister is a millennial. I have a cousin that's a millennial. I know millennials, and I'm quite sure the rest of you do too. Now, I do know that millennials grew up in the technological age of the internet. So millennials are more apt to be open to online dating. This I know. Millennials are more about sending text messages as opposed to calling. But sending your naked ass, that is not a millennial thing. I'm a Generation Xer. I have had people that exhibited degenerate behavior in my generation, where I received penis pictures from men. I've also received some nasty kitty cat pictures from women. Okay? Degenerate behavior is not a generational thing. And so it's a slap in the face to millennials for you to put that on all millennials, that they partake in this type of degenerate behavior. It's not an autism thing, because there's a slap in the face to people in the autism community when you try to say that your degenerate behavior is a byproduct of being autistic, when there are plenty of autistic people that don't participate in that degenerate behavior. And being in love, that's not even an excuse. I don't know if anybody watched CK's video edit of the different conversations that took place around that situation, but she said out of her own mouth, I knew him for 2 weeks. I never met him. And he looped it over and over again so that you guys can get the point. She didn't know this guy. The same way she didn't know a lot of the other content creators that received a titty pic present from her. And so this is what I'm talking about as far as a better class of women. You can be articulate. You can use a bunch of $10 and $5 words. You can be book smart, but that does not mean that you have common sense. It doesn't even mean that you're actually intelligent, to be honest. And so it's an insult to my intelligence when a woman comes to me and wants me and other women to defend her in her wrongdoing. And see, I was listening to that video, and it was a masterful edit done by Reaction Satisfaction. You guys should definitely subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. But she was going back and forth with Womansphere. And Womansphere actually said the same thing. And I don't even think she really knew that she was saying it. But Womansphere was going back and forth with the young woman in question. And she said, you want to sit up here and send your naked pictures out to everybody, and you want me to sit up here and protect you? Bitch, fuck you, is what Womansphere told her somewhere along that lines. You can go back and watch the video and capture that moment for yourself. But basically what Womansphere was saying is the same thing that I'm saying. I'm not going to protect you for shit you got control over. Now, if it happened to you that one time and you didn't know, and you were, just being trusting, well, you learn your lesson, you move on. But then when we get numerous manosphere participants, men, saying that you have done the same thing with them, sent them a titty picture present, and they're going around sharing it on the dark web, so that men that you didn't even send the pictures to also are privy to seeing it. BMT showed up in the live stream and he said, hey, I didn't get a titty picture present, but I was able to see it on the dark web because you sent it to a bunch of folks. That's problematic. And that's where, if you really care about your sister, if you really love her, you're going to tell her, hey, what happened to you, I feel bad. And we all feel bad about that. But you gotta be smarter about sending stuff like that. D-Darrell. and shout out to D-Darrell, because he did an excellent live stream breaking down the particulars of that situation as well. And this is coming from an expert who actually works in the field and who's worked with people that have the illness that this young lady tried to hide behind to hide her wrongdoings. Exactly, Jim Jewel. You can be empathetic, but you can't keep coddling. It's the coddling that creates the bad class of women that we currently have. It's the coddling. Because you all don't want, oh, if I were to publicly say that this woman was wrong, these men will be on our ass harder than what they currently are. Fuck them. Okay, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. But you want to save a sister's life? You really want to create a better class of women? Start holding other women accountable for their wrongdoings. When you see something is not right, say something. Don't coddle. Don't allow for the excuses. Wanting to be protected while you are engaging in whole-like behavior, but you're disguising it as false abuse or false victimization, is treasonous. And it's not fair to real victims. D-Darrell says she still don't get it at Faith. I tried to talk and explain offline. And you know what? We're not going to be able to save everybody. But at least, you know, the people that did speak up, the people that did say, hey, sis, what you did, you know, that what you did wasn't right. You have to take accountability for your part in that situation. You have to take accountability for protecting yourself. You can't run to the community and expect us to be there to protect you all the time. Because you're putting yourself in this situation over and over again. And another good example, and like I said, none of this is victim blaming. None of it is. But there was a young lady that I knew growing up named Tasha. And her family was going through it with her because she had married this guy. And this guy was constantly beating her ass to the point where he was putting her in the hospital. He went to jail on numerous occasions for putting his hands on her. And she kept going back over and over again. And I remember I felt so bad for her situation. I offered to take her and her children into my home so that she can get away from that situation. I thought that she just didn't have a way to get out of it. She came and spent the night at my house one night and left. In the middle of the night, left me a note, thank you for your hospitality, but I'm going home. She was up all night on the phone talking to that nigga and went back. So I said, okay, well, I tried. Her family tried. She had numerous people in her family offering to help get her out of that situation. Even a family member in a whole nother city and state offering to help relocate her. But her decision was to continue to go back. And it wasn't that she was not being abused, because she was. It wasn't that she was not being victimized, because she was being victimized. But nobody could help her because she wanted to keep putting herself back in that situation. Shout out to D. Darrell for the $5 super chats. He says, glad you are continuing to talk about this important matter. A Bit Tied says, y'all, I'm trying to understand why y'all keep saying that. When it all first happened, she did take accountability for sending her news out to who she thought was Taz. She did that early on. But here's the thing. Every year, this person goes on a crying tour about something she allegedly and supposedly took accountability for. If you took accountability for the thing that happened and for your part in it, why every year you go on a crying tour calling yourself a victim when you have sent your news out to numerous of people? One person that even cursed you out in front of everybody for doing it. But every year you want to go on a crying tour about this. So this thing that you allegedly took accountability for. That means that you didn't really take accountability. And I don't understand what you all don't get about that. Why is it so hard for you all to wrap your minds around that? It's going on 4 years with this situation. If I apologize and I take accountability for something, I'm not going to go on a crying tour every year. As a matter of fact, my conversation is going to be more about prevention. Look, this is what happened to me. These people are snakes. And this is what I did. I sent my picture out. I was trusting of too many people having my picture. I had low self-esteem. I wanted attention. And this was the wrong way for me to get attention. And I need to work on myself, and I need to work on my self-esteem and how I feel about myself. I had to love myself more than to be doing this over and over again. And because I didn't love myself and because I had low self-esteem, this is what situation I put myself in, to be victimized by these people. And they should not have done it. But I kept doing it over and over again with other people after them. And now I'm looking really bad out here. Now that's real accountability. That's real. Rainy Woman says, because she keeps trying to shove her victimization down our throats, making us fellow victimizers and trying to silence us from advising others, using her as an example. A bit tied. And D. Darrell says, exactly. For the last 3 years, I'm not doing this again this year. I'm being neutral. And I don't blame you. D. Darrell has been in this woman's corner. He has. He's been silent. He's been helping this person behind the scenes, trying to talk to this person, trying to show this person that they have to take accountability for some things that happen to them themselves. And they still don't understand. They have not learned the lesson. So this person is going to find themselves in situations like this over and over again. And it is not the community's job to protect this person. What am I protecting you from? Yourself? Going back to the domestic violence situation. Not I, not that woman's family, could protect her from herself, because she didn't love herself or her children enough to get them out of harm's way. And at that point, you yourself have to step back and wait until they get tired. And it's a painful situation to be in, because you know the person is self-destruction. That's self-destruction. How the song goes? Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. You will sit up and coddle a person while they continuously head towards self-destruction, and you won't say anything to this person. That is not love. That is not helping. I am Allison in Wonderland. When Taz and Nyla first hit the internet, I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis and continue with the commentary, but just because you're out the loop. Nobody knew they were together at first. So Uppity thought that she was talking to a single man who was, available. And she knew him for 2 weeks. Okay, they talked online. She never met him in person. And so Nyla found out that Taz was cheating on her. Only her and Taz knew they were together. And apparently, as the story goes, Nyla solicited some nudes from the young woman in question. And the young woman in question, thinking that she was sending the nudes to the fella that she had been online talking to for 2 weeks, was actually sending it to his girlfriend. And the girlfriend then published those pictures online. And that was wrong. They victimized this woman by sending her nudes out. And so as time goes on, because when I first heard of it, I felt bad for her, because I was like, they were absolutely wrong for doing that. But then other men came out. Like I said, it was a Me Too situation where they were saying, hey, I got titty pics too. Me too, she sent me titty pics. Me too, she sent me titty pics, and so on and so forth, until even one content creator went on a live stream and cursed her out and told her he didn't want her funky titty pics. So after a while, if people are saying this about you and Me Tooing you like this, the problem isn't just the people that are victimizing you by doing revenge porn, but the problem is also you for allowing them to have this ammunition against you and putting yourself in these situations. Number one, she said over and over again, she only knew this person that she thought she was in love with and in a relationship with for 2 weeks. And she had never met the person in person. And so it was a bad choice to send somebody like this nudes in the first place. But like I said, if a person fools me once, shame on them. So I felt bad for her in that particular situation. But it was the Me Too. When the men start Me Tooing her and saying they also got a titty pic present, when I began to look at her and her behavior. And that's the behavior that I'm speaking on today. I can't uphold you in your wrongdoing. Because first of all, it's a double-edged sword. See, a lot of things that women get away with, we get away with simply because we're women. Now, men are not going to complain about a nice set of titties coming in their inbox. Most men don't. One man did. One man did get up and curse her out and tell her that he don't want any more of her titty pics. But the rest of the guys were happy to get their titty pic present. But what I'm trying to tell you is that is a form of sexual harassment. when you send unsolicited nudes to people. So there's a double-edged sword there. Now, in the first situation, the people asked her for it, and then the lady went on to do revenge porn on her. That situation I feel bad for her for. The other situations, from what I hear, they were unsolicited. She was just sending presents to people, and one person didn't want the titty pic. And that could be construed as sexual harassment. It's the same as if a woman got a penis picture from a man and it was unsolicited. She did not ask for it. Why are you sending me this? But like I said, we as women get away with a lot of stuff just simply because we're women. Let's see what you guys are talking about. They might have been in a poly community, but the problem with that is, even if the person was in a poly community, I wouldn't be trusting them with my naked pictures, poly community or not. You just don't do that. And that would be the advice that if I was this woman that I would be giving to other women. Don't be so trusting. It's not going to be a benefit to you to be that trusting. This is what happened to me when I was trusting. Get to know people better. Build a much stronger repertoire with people. Because you never know what a person is capable of. Vet. So if you're going to be the unicorn in a situation, which a unicorn is a third party in a threesome, even unicorns have to be careful. Let's see here. A bit Ty said, I wouldn't be sending those kinds of pics to different people after all that mess with Nyla. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like when I heard about the what she went through with Taz and Nyla, I was very sympathetic, as a woman should be to another woman. But after hearing the other people come out, me too, I got a titty pic present. Nah, sis. Nah. Let's sit down and talk about prevention and your role in the situation. Rainey says, and doesn't she know that Darren would never support what she is doing? Deeterell says, exactly, Darren Marion would have never supported this. I'm Allison in Wonderland says, a lot of that type of messiness is common in poly. Women can be very desperate. Exactly. Desperation. That is the key and operative word. Low self-esteem. So that's all we were saying here. Nobody is trying to victim blame, because we all agree that what Nyla did to her was wrong. To the young lady in the situation of domestic violence, nobody blames her for her husband beating on her and abusing her and the children. But what we are saying is she needs to get herself and her children out of that situation. That is not victim blaming. That is holding the person accountable for their own safety and the safety of their children. And in a lot of situations like that, CPS will come and take the children if the mother doesn't seem to have a desire to protect them. So would CPS be victim blaming if they did that? It absolutely wouldn't be. Now, let's go back to the misuse of the word mammy and other shaming language that a lot of women who participate in this bad behavior do to keep other women from holding them accountable for their bad behavior. So now, in an example with the young lady with the titty pictures, oh, we heard a lot of other women come in. Oh, y'all just jealous of her big old titties. You're jealous. That's the reason why you're saying these things to her. You wished that your titties was a size H2. So you too can have internal back problems. No, thank you. I'm perfectly satisfied with the C cup that I have. But I will say this, shaming language like that, you're just jealous. Oh, she's so pretty. You're just angry because you're not as pretty as her. You're ugly. This is shaming language. This is to shut whoever down. Oh, you're just a big fat water buffalo. Ain't no man trying to see your nudes. This is shaming language. So as soon as other women start holding women accountable for their poor behavior, their classless behavior, their bimbo-like behavior, this is what they always retaliate with. You cannot call a thing a thing. Because as I stated earlier, there are some women in our community that don't want the community to be a safe place. They just want it to be a safe place for them to participate in their whole life behavior. They don't want the community to be a place where women have more respect for themselves. Because they have disrespected themselves, they're going to pull a Cheryl Underwood on you. And they're going to whine and cry, call themselves victims, take false responsibility, like Cheryl did for her comment about nappy hair. Then she turned around and made a comment about white people having lovely straight hair. But she didn't mean what she said then when she apologized, because she doubled down on it later. So she didn't actually take accountability. She just said whatever she needed to say so that people can get off her ass for saying what she said and doing what she did. And that's what a lot of Black women do. Because we're women, we feel as if we ought to have each other's backs no matter how treacherous we are. No matter how bimbo-like our behavior is, hoe-like the behavior is, we will never, ever, ever talk about the term Jezebel. And like I said, this does not pertain to all Black women, because all Black women are not mammies. All Black women are not pick-me's. All Black women are not Jezebels. But you got to be able to call a thing a thing. And it's mighty funny that in all the terminologies that Black women have for one another, we'll even call each other bitches before we will bring up the term Jezebel. Because quiet is kept. There's a lot of Jezebel behavior that be going down. And we don't want to mysteriously find ourselves in the sneaky, conniving, lying Jezebel category. Because if we sit up here and hold ourselves accountable for Jezebel behavior, some of us may actually find ourselves being called Jezebels. And that's the reason why that terminology has been omitted from the Black female vocabulary of self-accountability. When Woman's Fear was going at the lady in question, she called a thing on several occasions. She said, "You're a bimbo." She said it several times. But we're going to say that she wrong for calling a thing, right? Well, let's see. If you send a new picture to one guy because you knew him for 2 weeks and you thought you were in love, and you send a new picture to several other guys, and we don't even know why you sent it to them. One person, you said you sent a picture of yourself while you were in the shower. We also have that looped several times on the video. "Oh, I just sent a picture of him while I was in the shower. It's no big deal." But we can't say that this is Jezebel bimbo behavior. A Bit Tied says, "My comments about her being able to wear and show off what she wants wasn't about shaming. Miss Aaliyah used that as a moment to shame her for what she was wearing." No, I mean, I think that we as women, we have beautiful figures. We have beautiful shapes. I like to look sexy. I got a picture of myself right on my community tab wearing a top that shows off some nice little cleavage that I have. I am not against a woman wanting to look and feel sexy, but it's the behavior. Now, it's one thing for me to post a picture of myself wearing some cute little outfit that I think I look sexy in. Sweet Life of Atari has a very fetching outfit of herself, a picture of herself wearing this pink leotard outfit. I think it looks great on her. There's nothing wrong with being sexy. We're women. We're supposed to be, sexy and, feeling good about ourselves. But it would be different if, like, say, for instance, I'm going to use myself. If I decide that I'm putting these pictures out here because I want guys to hit me up and pay me for a webcam section, or I want guys to hit me up and I'm going to meet them and we're going to do a threesome, and this is what I do on a regular. I'm the unicorn in the situation, and I'm just going to come and be your unicorn, and sometimes I don't even get paid for it. I'm going to come and be your unicorn for free because I just love doing stuff like that. Or I'm going to invite you over and we're going to have an S&M session, because this is what I do. Tell your friends. But then when it becomes public what I do, then I got a problem with it. Now I want the community to protect me from being called a bimbo, a hoe, and a Jezebel. These are words that we as Black women have erased from the accountability language. You'll never, ever, ever see Black women utilizing these terms with one another because we're afraid to call a thing a thing. So now I've been caught being a hoe. And I need the community to rally against, not to rally against, but to rally around me. I need my sisters to rally around me. I need some of you brothers too to rally around me and protect me from being known as a hoe, which is what I do in real life. And so, to even strengthen the pot, I'm going to say I got a mental illness. I'm a millennial. That's what we do. I was in love with one of the guys. Oh, don't blame me. I'm a victim. You're victim shaming if you call me a bimbo and a hoe because I have exhibited bimbo and hoe-like behavior. And you just jealous because you too can't be a unicorn in somebody's bedroom. You're just jealous. Nobody wants you to be a unicorn. You wish you had this horn. Raining Woman says we don't rally around sex workers to excuse them. The thing about it is, if you are a sex worker, then own that shit. Be a proud sex worker. Don't put me in a position where I got to defend your honor where there is no honor. This is what you do. Don't cry rape when this is what you were getting paid to do. Don't go on a crying victimization tour when this is what you do. I have respect for the sex worker that comes out and says, this is what I do. And so therefore, if something comes out, a picture or a bunch of guys come out and say, hey, I had that stuff too, she's going to stand there and say, yes, because I'm a sex worker and you paid me. She's not going to put you, me, or any of these men in position to have to defend her because she is a sex worker. She's not going to become a false victim and create all these excuses for what she does. She's a loose woman or she's a sex worker. Even if you're a loose woman, if you just love sex, own that shit. I have respect for the woman that says, I just love sex. I was on GMT's panel one time with, I think it was Trinity Time Travelers. And she said, hey, I like doing what I do. And you know what? I had to shut up. Because this is a woman that owns her shit. I can respect that all day. Right. Ultimate Gemini says, imagine a sex worker using autism for the reason why they are a sex worker. Exactly. If this is what you do, own that shit. Don't put the rest of the community at large in a position where we have to defend what you just do. Now, in saying this is not me saying that while you're in the midst of doing your job and someone comes and they sexually assault you and it was not something that you wanted, that's completely different. Now, if you came out and said, hey, you know what? I sell pussy, but this nigga didn't want to pay. And so I got up to put my clothes on and he took the pussy. That's rape. Now, the reason I can respect that and I will rally for that woman, because she didn't come in saying, hey, I'm a victim. I got autism. I'm a victim. I thought I was in love with the John. I'm a victim. You know, I'm a millennial and that's what we do. We just give our pussy away. This person said, hey, I'm a hoe. I'm a sex worker. I get paid to fuck. And this person didn't want to pay. They took it and I'm a victim. I can respect that. So I've been on my soapbox for an hour and 35 minutes. I think I got out everything that I wanted to say. I might just go ahead and open up the panel. I'm kind of reluctant and scared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody, put a 1 down in the chat room if you think I should open up the panel. Put a 2 if you think I should go ahead and end the live stream as good as it is, and I should just sign off. 1 if you want to open up the panel. 2 if you don't want to open up the panel. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and vote. I'm waiting on the votes to roll in. 1 to open the panel, 2 not to open the panel. But so far, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 ones. Okay. Okay, 5 ones. It looks like the panel is going to end up open. Blue Devil Geese says 2. Okay. Still got more 1s and 2s. Gonna give you guys time. I'm gonna give it 1 more minute for everybody. 1 to open the panel, 2 not to open the panel. And while I'm waiting, there are rules. There are rules. Now, if you come up here to disrupt, disrespect me, disrespect anybody else on this panel, I'm going to shut down the show. It's not going to be kicking nobody off. Because we want to have an actual conversation. Ultimate Gemini says she's down to keep listening. Okay. Yeah, I don't want this to be a mudslinging conversation. We're going to have the conversation about why it's important to hold women accountable for our wrongdoings. And we're going to have the conversation as to why some people feel that they have to rally for their sister, whether she right or wrong. We're going to have that conversation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and post the link. All right, there it is. The link is in the chat room. So anybody that wants to come up and you have something that you want to say on the topic, you can come up and put your 2 cents in there. Because a lot of times we don't talk about this. Why is it that we can throw out the terms mammy? We can throw out the term pygmy. We can throw out the term male identified. But the term Jezebel, bimbo, hoe, it's erased. We'll even call each other bitches first. Exactly, BMT. No ad hominem. Attack the talking point and not the person. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. Anybody that got the gumption to come up here and say what's on their mind can do so. Ultimate Gemini says, I think because back in the day it was overused. It was. Now, Ultimate Gemini brings up a very good point. A lot of the reason why a lot of women shy away from using the word Jezebel, bimbo, and hoe is because it was definitely overused back in the day. We were calling every woman a hoe and a bimbo and a Jezebel for no goddamn good reason. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see who this is. What's up? Okay, Mahogany.
Hey.
What's up, sis?
Hey, girl. And I hope I don't get on your nerves because I'm always coming up here to throw a different perspective. Although I'm gonna be honest, Faith, I had when I dropped in the chat, I had literally just turned your live on, so I didn't hear everything. But I think so. You helped guide me, but I'm just against women. Placing so much judgment on other women, because this is the thing. I did a show on Mother's Day talking about sexuality and just the power of being a woman, the power of femininity. And I take pride in that. I think it's a part of us that makes up us a whole. But overall, I'm just against name calling, period. I cannot stand for men to call us names, let alone us to call each other names. I just think we should have more respect for each other than that. So that's my opinion as far as the names. Was there anything else you were saying?
Well, no, we could start there because that's exactly what I was talking about. Like why we shy away from calling a thing a thing. Because here's the thing, like one of the ladies down in the chat room, I think it was Ultimate Gemini said, she said back in the day the term was overused. And I agree that the term was overused. But here's the thing. How do you describe hoe-like behavior, bimbo behavior, Jezebel behavior without using those terms?
Ooh, I never thought about it like that. Because I think there's a difference, but there's definitely a difference between the lady and the other thing. And that's the thing. It's really hard to, unless you know that person and their lifestyle. I just feel like people can be so judgmental. I know I've been judged plenty of times about the way I dress, the things I do, the way I look. But, ultimately I'm very secure. So I don't really need I don't care about what people say about me. But I realize all women aren't that way. So that's a good question. I've never thought about it, to be honest.
Because like a way a person dressed, you cannot judge a book by its cover.
Right.
So I'm talking more or less on actions.
Right. Well, you'd have to judge them on their behavior. I've kind of talked about whole type behavior, like, chasing after. Do you want me to list the behavior that I would consider hoish?
Yeah, I mean, get down into it. Get your hands dirty with it.
Well, to me, what would make a woman, it's hard for me because I just don't like that term, but to me, hoish behavior is like messing with somebody else's man, just kind of being open with your body, not caring about your own self. Um, you can be open with your body if that's, the thing of the whole open with your body, there's consequences with that. And when I'm talking about being open with your body, I'm talking about sharing your treasure, because your body is your treasure, right? With any old random, Leroy. So that to me, that's what a hoe is. But dress, no, that's not a hoe. Even dancing and stuff, I don't think that's necessarily hoish, because some of that goes back to culture and just people having fun, having a good time. I think it's when you're looking at it from the outside, it can be a very thin line, because I do feel like sometimes women are very hard on other women. I've been called a hoe. I don't give a damn. Um, but just because of the way I might be dressing or dancing, um, just having a good time, and I've been judged. Listen, Faith, I was breastfeeding my son. I think I told the story to you before. Breastfeeding my son in the back of a church, and the older women told me that they didn't think it was appropriate. So it's all about perception. I'll let you have it.
Okay, well, those are actually good examples, Mahogany. Real
Oh,
good
good.
example. I want to go ahead and move over to Dita Rail and get a male perspective on the question. And Dita Rail, thank you so much for coming up, brother. I appreciate you.
Hey
What
Faith,
do
how
you
you
have
doing
to
this morning?
say? What do you think? Should women start calling each other out for whole like behavior, the Jezebel behavior, bimbo behavior? What is your take on it?
My thoughts is that um, women should hold other women accountable for behaviors that are destructive to the community. And the one of the biggest problems, and this is not just for women, but for just the community and the Black community, period. We normalize negative behavior, and how are we as a people going to create the boundaries of what's good and what's not if we're being okay with everything without having some level of differences? So I think that it is important for women to call out women who act in ways that hurts the image of Black women and also hurts the community. If you don't do that, how are people supposed to differentiate between the two? If you think that all behaviors are supposed to be seen as okay. Now, Mahogany spoke in reference to being judgmental. It's a difference between being judgmental as opposed to identifying and holding someone to a certain standard. And in the Black community, we need standards and we need consistency with upholding those standards. And one of the biggest problems is when you look at a lot of our communities, there's no standards. That the lack of standards. So in any community, and I want you to understand this. In any community, particularly outside of the Black community, they uphold their people to standards. And if you don't, and if you do things to embarrass or in some way make them look negative, they take you out and they identify it. They don't allow it. They don't move past it. They're not going to say, "Oh, I'm not going to say this or that." They make it identifiable and they call it out. Now, some go to the extreme with things, but I think if we're going to look at attempting to create those boundaries and to hold people accountable, I think maybe there may be work that needs to be done in regards to how we may verbalize those issues to the person that we think is acting out of bounds or acting flagrant in their behavior. I do think that maybe we can, women could communicate in a less um, aggressive manner, maybe a less, maybe not as maybe nice, nasty type manner or things like that, or in a way in which we don't want the person to feel embarrassed or feel less than in that process. And that may be difficult to do in some situations, depend on the level of, less desired behavior that they engaged in. But I think that women should do so. I think women should call it out. And I think that in doing so, you separate those who are a certain way versus those that should be, what I think is fit within the community. That should not be any gray areas. There should not be any confusion in that. Women who are acting appropriately, because look at what's seen in the media and so forth. We see more of black women being presented in a negative manner than in a positive manner. And the reason why is because those who are acting more in a positive, respectable manner are not calling out the women who are making money for being in a negative manner. And so other communities see us as such, and therefore that's what they promote. So that should be a lot more of it. And I think that black women should be more aggressive in calling out these things.
Yeah, and I think you said something that was really important, and that is the approach. Jim Jewell says, yes, how you approach is important. Because in the situation with the young woman with the nude photos, and I'm not saying her name on purpose. There's an echo. You guys hear that? Or is it just me?
I don't hear an echo.
I hear echo.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't hear it. What? I don't know, but everybody mute up. Okay. All right. The echo was gone now. I don't know what was going on with that. But the approach is very important.
Do this. Let one person open the mic and talk. You find where like echo is.
Yeah, go ahead, Chaos. What do you think on the situation? Do you think that we should be more forthcoming with calling each other out as women?
I mean, it is long overdue. I mean, it'd be nice to women do that more often, but there is scrutiny and there's possibly threat of violence by women, unfortunately. In my opinion, that's why I like women, if they're in close proximity, and let's say they try to attempt to call no woman out. We all know what's going to happen, especially the type of woman you try to call out. Especially has the inclination to really put hands on that woman, pulling her hair, probably physical violence. And we see videos, they like our best, that sisters will get down dirty by the slight of just a verbal word towards each other. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like a lot of times there's a lot of shaming language. Like if it happens online, like in person, yeah, you're right. There'll be fighting, pulling of hair, and gnashing of teeth if a woman tries to hold another woman accountable. But online is more or less shaming language, like, oh, you're not attractive, and that's the reason why you're just jealous. Nobody wants you. You wish you were this, and you wish you were that, and all that type of stuff. So the person gets shamed into being quiet because they don't want the person saying that they're jealous of the other woman when they're just simply trying to correct a bad behavior. Do any of the other ladies on here agree?
Yes, I want to give Raining her chance, and I want to say, hey, Didi Raylan, Chaos, and Raining, everybody in the chat.
Hey,
I'm doing good. Chaos, and what you just said is a great point. Like doing it online versus doing it in real life, like they're totally two different things. I mean, you do that in real life, and you just get ready for a smackdown. It's not going to go well. But online, it's like, that's the thing. It's like trying to hold strangers accountable for something. I just don't see how that's going to happen. The only thing I think you could do to maybe combat it is to maybe you yourself be the positive influence, and you can talk about it and talk about your thoughts about why, you're against whatever that person is doing. For like the incident with the twerking and stuff, in that man's restaurant, that was completely inappropriate. So you could put out content about such things. But it's really hard to hold people accountable online but you could even do it in real life. Like if you have family, like I have nieces that I'm around quite frequently, and you can just, there's a way to go about things. Like D. Durrell was saying, you don't have to embarrass somebody, you know, you don't have to be mean about it. You can just politely give a little chastisement. You know, it doesn't have to be something that's mean or meant to embarrass somebody, because we all need correction at one point or another.
Facts. Exactly. Well, I do want to get Reigning Woman's point of view on this. Welcome to the screen, Reigning Woman. And the same question to you. I mean, do you believe in correction to other women?
Hey, good afternoon, Faith, D. Durrell, Chaos, and Mahogany. And I absolutely do believe in correction. See, I actually have probably too much to say and not enough time because I'm getting ready to get out of the house. But I do want to say this, right? When we talk about words like Jezebel, hoe, using modern language, thought, and things like that being used too much or being overused in the past, right? And so you try not to use those words today because we have we still have personal feelings attached to hearing those words when we were coming up, right? But here's the thing. Those words were also used as to let you know that you was doing something out of pocket. You was doing something, or something was either being said or done that was a misrepresentation of the expectation on you, right? So, be it your mother, your grandmother, someone else in the family, your religious institution, a school, something of that nature, right? And it was also used as a guideline also as to kind of what not to do because it may not be good for you to do long term, looking at the bigger picture, when as a younger person you don't see, you're blindsided, you don't have the ability to see up ahead for a bigger picture. And so that's why, you know, the elder generations, they had a harsh tone a lot of times, right? And they're very strict, right? But we must also be mindful or some take into mind a little bit from your perspective where they were coming from as well, and while those tones were there, and then kind of modify it for ourselves instead of saying, well, I'm just not going to I'm just not going to use these words. I'm just not going to say anything because I don't want to come across judgmental. Let's be honest, y'all. We're grown. As grown folks, we know that you are judged every single day on something before you even leave your house. And that's even whether you live alone or whether you live with people. You are judged. You judge yourself, don't you, every day about something? So why do we feel like we have to walk on eggshells in life to try to escape judgments of other people, and escape other people thinking we're being judgmental? You know what? I'm highly opinionated. I'm highly judgmental, and I'm going to be that unapologetically. And you know why? I'm gonna tell you why. For number one, when we start saying what we're not going to do and we try to shy away from these things, what we get away from is talking about standards, right? But you can't have a standard without having rules and guidelines. Standards means that there must be rules and guidelines. Where there are no rules and guidelines, soon ensues chaos, confusion, and destruction. And once chaos, confusion, and destruction sets in, it's a little bit too late to start trying to reel things back in. We want to judge, we will judge consequences and end results before we will judge an action. And then we will get mad at the results. We'll get mad at the consequences. But why? when you were, scared to say something, or you shied away from saying something before it got to that. As I believe that the elders, the older people, the white people that have experience in life, some maturity, some wisdom, are supposed to be able to say things to younger generations, whether they like it or not, whether they receive it or not, whether they accept it or not, because it's better to have said something and taken some kind of action than to have not said anything at all and have never planted a seed, and then everything is in total chaos. Because it's too late. After everything is in total chaos, it's just a little bit too late. It's a little too much, a little too late. If without any guidelines, without being willing to tell someone that something ladies, without telling a young lady that something they're saying or doing sends out certain messages, then we leave it to what we're doing is we're leaving it to them to be misguided by somebody else. Younger generations will teach each other. Do you not have standards for your own household? If you have a standard for your household, how could you not expect for there to be a standard outside of the household? People have jobs have a dress code because they want you to represent the company correctly. If they leave it up to you to dress any kind of way, just because of your style, because of how you feel, and because of your own culture and how you grow up, if they leave it for you to dress up any kind of way, they run the risk of you misrepresenting the company. There are schools that have a dress code. When schools have a dress code, you can tell a very distinct difference between the ones that do and the ones that don't. It's a distinct difference. But now, as a dress code, everything, no. There's a dress code that also comes along with some guidelines and some rules. If you feel, as grown people, if we feel like we have to walk on eggshells or we're too worried about being judged, we need to take a look in the mirror. We need to get real with ourselves, and we need to ask ourselves some hard questions about, why do I feel judged by others if I'm not doing anything wrong? Why do I feel misjudged by? Why do I feel judged by others? Or why am I worried about the judgments of others if I'm not doing anything wrong? What is it about yourself that you need to reconcile with? What is it about your past? What is it about your upbringing? What is it about what was said before to you, to others? What is it that all comes back to you? What is it about yourself that you need to reconcile with, so that you can get over that hump and not walk on those eggshells, and you can be a light for somebody else? What is it about ourselves? Now,
Facts, Raina. And I wanna also just move into the conversational portion of the segment. I just want to make sure that everybody got their monologues off. So now in the conversational portion, it's every person for themselves. If you want to jump in, you can jump in. And so anybody at this time can jump in.
Okay. I just want to say that first. I think that it's great that we're having this conversation, um, and that we looking at this space as a reflection of our community as a whole, as far as a lack of accountability, the upholding of certain standards, and there's a lot of things that how do we get at this point? We look at our community, how it has changed and how it has been altered, the things that have been afflicted upon us, and it's like every so many generations, every decade, we have certain type of issues in our community when it comes to these issues, when it comes to imagery, how we carry ourselves verbally, you know, issues of marriage, single motherhood, you know, the lack of a lot of different things as far as education, health. I mean, it's a lot of things that encompass these standards that we should have or lack thereof, the state of the black family. Um, to me, a lot of this is remnants of that as far as how we function in those areas that, you know, as far as how we raise our children, um, you know, because a lot of that is, you know, when we talk about judging and looking at other people, we're looking at just the image of that.
Wait, is this your stuff updated or no?
No,
Hello?
go ahead. Deidre.
Oh, okay. So I would like us to, you know, because as we talk about this, if we can in many ways look at accountability as it filters into all aspects of black culture, as far as since we are talking about it as far as from a woman's perspective, in a sense, I like to hear particularly what the women say, and I kind of get, you know, kind of a rebuttal or kind of give my based on what you all think, because you all are women, you all are walking in those shoes, so you all can tell us in a sense, and it helps us understand it, and it's a form of education, as far as what that should look like as it involves your behavior in all aspects of black culture.
Well, for me, Deidre, I'm with Mahogany. I don't want to be judged based off of what I wear. Like, I think that women and people in general should be able to express themselves in how they dress.
Right.
But I think it's more or less the actions of the person that should be looked at and dealt with. Like Mahogany said, I think that bad behavior is a woman thinking it's okay to sleep with another woman's husband. I have seen women sit up here and glorify being a side chick.
Right.
And I'm just like, how can you glorify something like this? Like, do you understand that you are a home wreck? Like, you're just going to overlook this man's wife, his children, and the family that he already has because you selfishly want a piece of something that he has monetarily. Now, to me, that makes you a low down, dirty heifer. I'm just going to be honest.
Right. So my thing is, let's say, like you said, you've heard, and I've heard it too in different sectors and so on. So let's say if we had that topic about, you know, we're going to point out the deficiencies of a side piece, a female that's a side piece. How would you approach a woman on a panel who is glorifying this kind of behavior? And let's say you're on the panel, because the thing we were talking about approach as far as, you know, not appearing judgmental. Now, the thing about it, we're human beings, and we have flaws, and we're going to, you know, be human. And part of being human is expressing our emotions and expressing our opinion. And the thing about it is, when did being a side piece become such an acceptable thing? Because in order for it to become it had to have become an acceptable thing where people feel comfortable enough to say they're doing that. Because I know in the past, other generations, if you was a side piece, that was quiet. Nobody was going out their way saying that they was a side piece. But not in today's culture. Today's culture, they went, yeah, you know, they even had an internet reality show called Side Pieces of Charlotte.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, people are just like out there with it now. And here's the thing, and anybody can jump in because we're in the conversation portion. So anybody can just jump in if they want to. BMT, if you have something that you want to say, feel free to just jump in. But I think that with the level up movement, there were women out here like Crystal Harrison and Chrissy, and there was another one, I think it was April Mason.
Mm-hmm.
And they were coming online and they were talking to women about leveling themselves up, being beautiful, how to, sharing beauty secrets with women, and how to take care of yourself, what to look for in a man, what not to accept as far as treatment. And so the level up movement was going great with those women, coming in with those tips and techniques. But what I noticed is the bimbos, the hoes, and the I'm just gonna say it, the straight up prostitutes came in and infiltrated the level up movement. All of a sudden, it went from, you beautifying yourself and you loving yourself and not settling for less to, hey, let's be a sugar baby. This is how you get a sugar daddy.
Right, right.
The
So,
whole
so,
conversation flipped.
so, Faith, why isn't leveling up? I mean, because I've watched. I mean, I know you're probably more privy to those. I mean, I've watched a little bit of Chrislyn and Chrissy, and particularly in the last 2 to 3 years. I don't watch them consistently. But what about leveling yourself up as far as your own self improvement? Because leveling
Well,
up should
well,
not be should
Crystalline,
not. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But Crystalline and Chrissy, they do tell women to level themselves up. They do tell women because Crystalline Harrison even has Pink Pill for Business.
Okay.
Chrissy, talks about women, leveling themselves up, and being happily single if you want to. She even talks about how she's actually happier being single, but she knows that there's women that do want to get married and have a husband. So she gives them advice on how to make themselves more, attractive to a high value man. And the tips that she give isn't about, being a sugar baby. But what I'm saying is the hoes, the bimbos, and the prostitutes came into the level up movement and they bastardized.
Okay. What's up, Faith? And what's up, D Darrell? What's up,
What's up,
Autumn?
brother?
Yeah, great conversation. You know, um, calling a spade has become dangerous because then it's like if you don't agree, then don't say nothing at all. That's why I always hated that term. Only God can judge me. Like that. That's the stupidest term ever rotted out. Because you're known for the company you keep. You're known for the fruit that you bear. And it's one thing, when you do it and you don't know what you're doing. It's a different thing when you understand what you're doing, but then you don't want to be held accountable for what you're doing. And so it's where, you see behaviors and you try to tell people like, hey man, if you go down this road, listen, learn from your actions. I grew up, my mom and dad weren't always together. I know what it's like to be in a household with one parent with 4 kids. I understand some people can't choose how they're born. Some people, my mama wanted love. I ain't had no problem. I understand that. My mom even talked to me about it. She said, I'm a woman. I have needs. But my mom never went out there and paraded and threw it in other, you know what I'm saying? Like there was a certain type of way. She's like, my kids come first. I'm going to make sure my kids have. You know, the conception is I got to get mine. I got to live my life versus uh, your values and integrities. And when you start holding certain type of standard and preference, but I have no problem with people having a standard or preference or, you know what, I'm fine who I am. But it's a different thing when you don't want to hold the accountability stick and say, well, regardless of my decisions, you know, you can't hold me to that, or I didn't know better. But that's not true. That's not true. And so we're having and seeing these issues because if I have to hold men accountable, I would expect my counterparts to have to hold the same type of stance of holding anybody else in their ranks to get accountable. And so it's one thing to call people jezebel. If you like what you do, like it and own it. But you can't get mad at how people come at you about it. You know what I'm saying? I one of my clientele is a stripper. She knows she's a stripper. She doesn't shy away from that. But she's now walking around the mall saying she's a bad beat. Versus I know some women that will say, "Oh, you's a basic broad." Wait, hold on, wait. Excuse me? Why you calling her basic? Because ain't no nigga checking for her. And I said, okay, now we're having the issue. Because we're talking about certain people's access and shaming. Well, because if she looked like that, she wouldn't be having no talking points. No, she's telling you like, hey, like the way you carrying on, that's not a good look. And so I have to tell men, pull up your pants if you want the respect. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, ma'am, this is a family atmosphere. Could you not, dress more appropriate? Why? Just don't look at my breath. What the hell, dude? Like, we got children here, man. Like, let them have some kind of what's it called, tact? And that's not shaming. That's just called public decency. That's just called having some type of restraint. So when we try to teach that, there's a pushback. I don't have a problem with a travel nurse or somebody who's doing well in life, wanting to enjoy their cake and eat it too, or a woman driving, or X, Y, and Z independent. I don't have a problem with it. Some men have problems, and some men actually encourage women to have independence. The problem is that the talking points are being conflated into irresponsibility. And that's the thing about it, I think, where they get mad, where people are trying to conflate irresponsibility with accountability. And that's where they push back and say, well, who are you to talk about me? You don't know who I am. You don't know how hard it was.
I got a question on BMT, because you said that you told a woman not to dress like that.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, what kind of restaurant was? You said there was kids there. I mean, people wear.
It was a graduation. It was an elementary school graduation. It was an elementary school graduation. There's no reason why. There's no reason, and we're all parents here, for any woman to wear see-through clothes at an elementary school graduation. None.
Okay, somebody might have their mic or maybe have YouTube in the background.
Yeah, I think it's you, Darrell. I think he's trying to fix it. Hey, BMT, I don't know if you saw me sitting up here,
I said, hey, Mahogany, you didn't hear me?
Oh, I stepped off, sweetie. But I'm listening to y'all. I'm listening to everything.
Yeah. It was an elementary school. It was an elementary graduation. So you understand what I'm saying, Faye? There's a time and a place for everything. There ain't no time to wear no net see-through clothes at no elementary school graduation.
Oh, it was see-through. Okay, well that's different. I mean, yeah, okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
No. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, I mean, I'm a man. I didn't approach her. Some other women approached her, and that's where it started getting abrupt. That's where it started getting a little bit abrupt. Well, I'm here to see my child too. I understand that you have your children here. Congratulations. But if the principal herself says, hey, you have to leave, and now it's starting to get disorderly. And I think she was starting to talk about it on Facebook. They won't allow me to see my child walk across the stage. Come on, sis. There's a time and place for everything. You understand what I'm saying, Faye? Like, not dressed like that. Not at no kid's graduation.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, if she was all the way wrong, if she showed up to a grammar school graduation, even a high school graduation with see-through clothes on, and people can see her titties and body parts. I mean, are you there to see your child graduate, or are you there to try to, catch something? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that is highly unacceptable.
So yeah, I got two things to say, and then I want y'all to chime in. So yeah, that example that BMT gave was a great example. There's an appropriateness for stuff, right? Around children, family type stuff, or restaurants where they have no choice, like it's a public place, and they can't just walk out the door and they got to see your nakedness. Of course, you shouldn't be running around naked. I personally don't think people should be shopping in their pajamas and bonnets and stuff like that. That's something I would never do. But at the same time, we know that some people, they don't have that discretion. My question for y'all is, and this is what I was trying to allude to, those situations to me are obvious, cut and dry. But what happens is then it crosses over to when it's not so cut and dry, like I was talking about, just by, oh God, let me give another example. Faith, help me think of an example. I already talked about the dress. I already talked about certain women being offended by breastfeeding. My thing is, there are some people that are so, and I would like to say I'm down the middle, kind of conservative. I'm sort of conservative, but not that conservative. I'm kind of in the middle. But some people are so conservative. It's like, how do we draw the line? That's my question. And then I want to say,
okay, here's an example. Like, okay, you go to the family barbecue.
Okay.
Everybody there wearing shorts, everybody kind of, dressing their leisure outfit. And then here come Junebug with his girlfriend, and she dressed in fishnet clothing, see-through clothing, and you can see everything, like everything.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, that's too much. My grandma would stop that. My grandma would tell one of the other ladies, like, "Hey, put her back in the car. We'll send her a plate, put her back in the car, and we'll get at the man too. Like, why didn't you tell her what kind of event this was? Like, you brought her to this event around other men. What are you trying to do?" So
right, because if I'm there with my man, I do not want my man looking at you because you half naked. Like, he wouldn't even be looking at you if you had all your clothes on, but because you are a spectacle, that's the reason why all the men are looking at you.
But see, that would be called shaming, and that's not. I don't see that as shaming. I'm gonna say how my auntie's saying, protecting your assets. Women can become but let me know if I'm wrong. Women can become territorial. Hey, this is my man. I don't want my man around that type of temptation. Not saying he's going to cheat. I just don't want that around him. Only thing he needed, he's a man, but I understand he's still flesh. If you want to look at
Okay,
some
now see,
breasts,
look at this comment right here. This is what I'm talking about. Nisha Mack says you can't control a man's ass face. Okay,
Right, that's true.
what about my ass? I mean, because everybody looking at her.
you
I'm
can't
not saying that it's just a me, but it's just that she come to a function where people are there, their husbands, wives, children. This is a family picnic, a family outing, and you gonna show up in clothing that make you a spectacle. So it's not just the men looking, but it's the women too. They everybody looking at you like, what the hell?
Personally, I think if that person comes in there, and I promise I'm gonna be quiet, Bell. But like, one thing I can't stand is when the person is actually with a significant other and the significant other doesn't say anything, because I feel like that person who's closest to them should really be the first person to say something.
right.
Yeah, that I was in the store, honey, and I could see all the business. And I just, politely turned my little head and walked down the other aisle. But it's like, dang, dude, that's your girl. If you really, I don't know if he was afraid to tell her, sweetie, don't come out the house looking like that. Yeah, that's a little weird to me.
But but we had to do that too. I love my cousin. You know what I'm saying? His girl, she's going to be becoming a teacher soon. But I can't tell her she's going to be a teacher or she going to be the next porn star by the way she come out. And I'm like, listen, bro, there should be no reason why I should see her tramp stamp and the piercings on certain parts of her body. Well, don't look, bro. I'm like, listen, bro, you know who told me? My 8-year-old son. What's that on her body? Now, when an 8-year-old, children catch everything. They'll catch everything on a person's body. And I'm like, okay, she got to go. You can't bring her around. Well, if she can't come around, then I ain't coming around. Well, I love you, but you got it until you can start checking her. And then she felt like that was disrespect. But I'm like, if you respect that other person or you respect yourself, you wouldn't come around people that you respect as your peers like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a placement of respect and accountability. You know,
Exactly.
I will check the men at the function. Like, hey, y'all, we're not gonna harass her. But then I'm also looking at the sisters or the other people that bring this variable around. Say, hey, could y'all just politely, hey, if we went to the beach and y'all girls want to wear y'all little two pieces or whatever, cool. But when it's doing too much at certain places, okay, all right. Grandma don't need to see that. She done survived Jim Crow. She don't need to see all that. I think we get it. You're empowered, but not that empowered. Just like we don't like
Okay.
men wearing their pants like that. Go ahead. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is an interesting comment, and I want us to discuss this one because I see a lot of women down in the chat room have said this. They've been echoing this throughout the conversation. Ultimate Gemini says, I'm telling you, men are the ones loving that she's dressed like that. The man that she's with needs to be the one to check her.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, of course, men are going to look. We're visual, but that doesn't mean that um, every man is just going to be glued in and like, oh wow, that's not the case. I think that was a very general statement. Particularly if you're a family man, you got a wife, you are you just with your children and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't want my children being exposed to seeing someone dressing too explicit. In a situation that doesn't call for that. I mean, if you go into a club, some type of event, party, there's certain things you should be doing for the situation. But if you're in a family situation or in a church or something where it's conservative, you shouldn't be dressing like that. And the thing about it is, a lot of the women that do this, they know this, but they do it anyway because they feel empowered to dress how they want. You have to understand when you engage in that type of behavior, you're going to draw a certain level of attention, and you're probably going to be approached by people, you know, asking you why you dress like this, or maybe you may have to leave or whatever. So that comes with the territory. You wear things like that, there's a certain level of attention you're gonna get.
Like I said, so I'm gonna put it out like this: if you can't put the milk out and not expect the cat, you can't put the milk out and not expect the cat. As simple as that. And I know we're saying, well, the man with her should have checked her. I don't know if y'all women don't, and I know, but I see y'all looking those mirrors and those phones and do that whole, what's that shit y'all be doing? That link, let me see. Oh, y'all do it like this. What's this when y'all do that? There ain't no way y'all don't do a whole full body assessment. Come on now, Mahogany. I know y'all do the whole thing with the move the hair around. I believe before you go outside, you're going to check yourself. And just like
Well,
if
see,
I could tell a man at Dollar General store that's busting the side that I can see his drawers and his goddamn imprint of his wee wee walking around, I'm like, hey, bro, you're a sexual deviant. You like little kids. I'll make him feel uncomfortable because he's walking around like that around other people. And he like, hell nah, bro. I said, hey, you want to get emasculated? Pull up your pants. And I will tell the same to excuse me, ma'am. Could you not be like that? Or I got two little girls right here with me. Now, you're telling people, well, the men should know how to control themselves. But I'm like, there's gotta be a balance to this. And if you're saying that we can't have a balance, then you can't tell me how I teach the boys. They're gonna say, well, that's just how women are. Women just dress loosey goosey. That's just the class of how they are. So that's what
well,
they're
see,
going to be
I'm seeing women say that the man wants her to dress sexy for his friends. And
like that.
I've seen situations like that where a man would like for his woman to look kind of sexy because he wants to show her off to his friends. So he
Yeah,
feels like that puts him in a position of power.
I was going to
Go
play
ahead,
devil's
Mahogany.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to play devil's advocate and say that. And then I was also going to bring up the fact that sometimes there's a double standard. If that woman's extremely attractive and those clothes are fitting just right, sometimes people are less likely. The women might say something, but the men are definitely not going to say something, especially if she's an extremely attractive woman.
Right.
So yeah.
But see,
Yeah.
then that's when you start getting judged, and then that's where the judgment start coming in. Like, you can't say nothing because, well, see, now this is where it's the sleight of hand of, well, the men like seeing women like that. Then okay, so you want to do the broad strokes with the brush? Hey, remember that brush got a stroke right back, and so that's the problem. You're saying that the men like seeing that, but then when y'all say that these men are over sexual, that they be pump and dump and everything, oh, but you're saying that's what we like. We like seeing porno vision. You're saying this is what we like. If you raise the standard, because then you're saying, well, these men don't want family. No, they just want the quickie back meal. Ain't nothing for me to work for. If I see everything, you can't say, well, I want you to treat me like this and that. No, I see a quick meal. You gonna show it to me and my friends? Don't ask for me to. No, I'm not. You're not gonna ask me to treat you like a fresh car off the lot, and you've been out there showing it to every Tom, Dick, Jamie, Bobby, and then say, well, I want to be treated like. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. And and this is for me as a man. If you want to go ahead and just reveal everything, how you want me to treat you, but I'm gonna be the same way for the dude. Y'all want a real nigga? Guess what? You pray for that, and that's what you'll get. You'll get a nigga. You can't ask for something, then that's what you get. Then you're like, well, why can't I get a better standard model? No, that's what you asked for. Now I understand you want to be seductive for your man. You want his eyes to look at you, but see, there's got to be a certain standard to that, man. You can look nice in a curvature summer dress. I see some nice, good summer dresses, but there ain't nothing where you got the split going all the way up past the goddamn waist. And come on now, y'all, you know what I'm saying, Mahogany? We done been down to DD's goddamn discount store. They got some pretty seductive shit down there, but I'm like, damn, I think that's for the bedroom. That ain't for you to wear at the goddamn McDonald's. You don't think you need to wear that at McDonald's.
Well, see, this is what I'm talking about. Nisha back. This is the shaming language. This is part of that shaming language right there. I think we as women need to stop making them our enemies because we are threatened ourselves by their dress. See, just because I'm offended because you walking up in here with your titties and your ass and your pussy out, and I'm offended because you know what I'm saying? I'm offended because I can see. Okay. And then secondly, I'm offended because my kids can see.
Right.
And then thirdly, I'm offended because my man can see.
Right.
So now you're gonna offend me on 3 different levels. So let's not, play those games because I got the same pussy. I got titties too. I got a whole lot of ass back here, but I don't got to put it on display like you do. I got a man and I got a family without having to do that. And so if I can get a man and if I can get a family and if I can get attention without having to do that, what's wrong with you? And that's what we need to combat that type of shaming language with. What's wrong with you that you got to go all out like this in order to get attention? And I got attention and I did way less.
Right. I mean, again, I go back to the fact that, when you put in on that, you have a certain mindset, and it's not like these women are aloof to the fact that these environments dressed in a way to draw attention to themselves. So I'm like this: if you're going to do that, you have to take the responsibility that comes with that. And the fact of the matter is, if you go into a situation like that, people are going to look at you or approach you by you dressing in an extreme manner, and you just can't, people can look and people can say things, but you it's almost like you're doing it for attention, and then you don't like the attention that you're getting. So you need, so if you don't like that attention, then you shouldn't dress that way. you know and because that's part of, you can't control how other people are going to react to something you do. You dressing with your everything out, particularly if it's around children or you're in a family environment. People are going to look and feel a certain way about it, and as a responsible adult, you should understand that. And yes, there are men that are going to look. There are men who do like that kind of stuff, but they not checking for you seriously. You know, these women, the women like that, are not getting married like that. Who habitually dress like that, provocative, they're not the ones that are getting married or keeping a man. So doing that type of behavior doesn't guarantee any type of success in the dating game. You basically just attracting guys that just want to have sex with you and they don't take you seriously. Real responsible men that are family minded or want a real relationship, something meaningful, are not going to check in for women like that. They may look and laugh and say little things, but they not checking for you like that, not seriously.
Exactly, Darrell. And the shaming language of pitting women, because that pits women against each other. Like you're sitting up here saying that the woman that complains about being able to see your naked butt is out of line, but you don't see that she's out of line for showing up to the venue where there's going to be family, children, women with their husbands. That's disrespectful. So
Right.
if you can't see how that's disrespectful, and the only thing that you can think of is yourself and the attention that you're getting, you're selfish. And
Right.
there's something wrong with your thought process that you feel that you got to do all of that in order to get attention.
Right.
So, I think it goes back to what Dee Rail says as far as the approach. I would not call you a hoe unless you turn around and try to cuss me out. Then you're going to be every bitch and hoe in the book. But if I
You do.
come to you in a nice way and say, hey, do you mind, covering that up? This is a family event and I'm respectful towards you. I ain't called you out your name or nothing. And then you want to get belligerent, then you're gonna escalate to me getting belligerent. And you're not gonna pull my hair out because I'm a fighter. I'm gonna tell you. I used to be on a wrestling team in high school. I used to do a lot of fighting in the hood.
Uh,
You will have a hard time taking me down.
I don't know if y'all remember, but that was an issue. I remember maybe, I don't know, it was like 2 years ago. That was a thing about, I think it was in the school system, or it was a whole thing about teachers dressing appropriately um, in the school system in school, and they were talking about teachers who were online, kind of like showing how they were dressing, going to school. And that was a big thing about, I think it was a teacher in Atlanta where she was dressed in these, like, she had a nice shape, but she dressed in these real fitted clothes in front of the kids and stuff like that. I don't know. Do y'all remember that? It was back in like 20 or 19, I think. But it was a whole thing that was going on about criticizing teachers and or women who were dressing a certain
I
way.
remember that.
Yeah,
I do.
and so my thing is this. Um, and I look at it from this perspective. Um, it's a difference between you dressing a certain way and like you were talking about, you can dress sexy and still be respectable. Like, say, if you got certain curves, you got, your body's shapely and whatever, you can dress something that doesn't show anything. But if you find it's going to show out just to the fact of the way your body is built and how it fits, And so, um, but then you can also dress a certain way in which you are purposely letting things hang out. You are purposely, wanting things to be a certain point of emphasis to look at. And so there's a difference in that, and things like that. And so for me, you're grown, you have the freedom to dress whatever way that you want to dress. But in that, you still got to look at the fact that people are going to perceive and respond a certain way. But to me, like environments like the school system around kids, that's not an environment where you should be looking sexy. Why should you want to look sexy around children? You know
I
that
agree.
that's um you know in certain work environments, where there's a fine line between you dressing in, but you don't want to be too provocative and so forth. And a lot of times, certain places where you work, they'll let you know limits of what that you can wear, what you can't show, and different things like that. Um, so
Can I add
what
on?
you make?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add on to what you were saying. Yeah, so you just like what Rainy Woman was talking about, the dress code, that's the importance of the dress code. And that leaves a lot of the guesswork out for the employees. So they know, okay, your top needs to be buttoned up, maybe not to the very top, but maybe just no lower than 2 buttons. They know that, okay, your skirt needs to be maybe a little bit above knee length. However, this is something else to think about. And I think me and you talked about this before in the past, Faith. There are some women that are so curvy, no matter what they put on. I'm trying to tell you that
Right.
booty, that those, it's gonna come, it's gonna show, and they could be actually doing the right thing, and they're going to be sexy. They're
Right.
going to come off as sexy,
Exactly.
have a voluptuous figure.
But I don't have a problem with a woman that has a sexy, voluptuous figure. Like Uppity Unicorn has a very sexy, voluptuous figure. So most things that she puts on, she's not going to be able to help it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go and you intentionally put on, like say for instance, a dress that has a real low hanging cleavage, and you know it's gaping open and showing everything, or you purposely put on something see through where people see everything, like you didn't even try to hide. You could see the underwear up under your clothes. It's so see through. Like stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that is intentional, that you have complete control over. It ain't got nothing to do with you being sexy or having a voluptuous or sexy body. That's what you chose to do because you wanted to show extra. Now the
Mm-hmm.
extra is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's true. Like and you can, and the thing about it, you can tell, somebody purposely doing certain things. Like there's things even for Uppity. There's things she purposely put on, and I mean, it was, I mean, I understand. There's a lot of content creators that purposely dress and show certain things when they do content. And there's things that Uppity has purposely put on to show her breasts. I mean, that's just, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I mean, but that's in the context of, uh, you doing your content and on social media and doing your videos. So that's a kind of a different thing. But even if she put something to cover it up, you still would see. And like you said, Faith, it's certain things no matter what she wear, she just has that type of shape. So, but to me, but again, it goes to the fact that women are mindful of what they have and what they got and how they want to show it. It's not like you just, oh, I didn't know people were going to, respond this. You know what you have. So, um, I mean, it comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm. I
You
Yeah,
agree.
know,
because like when I wear short skirts, because I know my butt sits up, and certain dresses will kind of rad up a little bit more in the back. So if I walk up some staircases, men can see my thumb. So I have to wear boy shorts up under those dresses so that everything doesn't show. Because I know what I got back there.
yeah.
So
So I
it just
So
mean,
all depends on whether or not you want to be, utilize some decorum, or you just want to be a nigga about your shit.
so I want to say this. So like my mom drives truck, okay, and she understands the environment that she in, okay. She knows what she's around. She knows the type of men that she around. And you know what I'm saying? Like I remember she was like, I was taking her out to go get some boots and some stuff, you know what I'm saying? And her friend was with us and she was like, "Oh girl, get that top." She said, No, I'm there to do a job and I know around some of these men, they're a certain type of way. So I don't want to be harassed. You know what I'm saying? So she understands the environment that she's in. And I don't think some people take it serious to certain type of environment at the end. And they'll be like, well, they just need to know how to control themselves. Well, that's true. But you also could be mindful of your surroundings. And that's the thing about it that is starting to kill me is, and this is something that law enforcement, nurses, anybody, psychologists, anybody will always ask you, hey, did you know about your surroundings? Did you understand where you was at when you went there? And when you start asking them that, they feel like there's a judgment. Like, how dare you make me have to realize where I'm at and what I'm doing? Yeah. You should probably be more cognizant of your surroundings. Be more aware of where you going. Not saying that that we're shaming, and I think that's the thing about it. People will say that's victim shaming, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a pretty big guy. But I'm not going to challenge the forces of the world and go to some places where I know, hey man, I don't belong in this place or I don't need to be here. That's just cognitive judgment. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I would never tell anybody, I think they even tell that college campuses like, hey, ladies, be careful at nighttime when you're going from one dorm to the next. That's safety. They'll say, hey, watch where you going. Be careful when you're talking to guys about when you get close to their cars or their vehicles. That nobody's shaming anybody, but it is putting out the proper information and knowledge. And when sometimes that's happening, it's taken. I don't know how the best way to place it, but it's taken like, oh my God, like you're talking down on them or you're judging them or you don't understand where they're coming from. It's not about that. It's just that we're trying to have the honest discussion so that way these type of behaviors don't happen. Having a discussion saying, hey, when your boyfriend come over, your daughters need to put on some clothes. I know, and I've been there as a younger man. I've dated women that have daughters. Hey, I told my gal at the time, hey, could you know what I'm saying, your daughter, I don't, I know we cool, but I just don't want to be put in that situation. Well, why are you looking at my daughter? Damn. I just said something as a man, but I know what it's like for my nieces. You feel me? That ain't me. You know what I'm saying? That's not me coming down on her and her parenting. I'm just saying there's things that you need to be mindful of. Same thing I will tell young men, hey, you roughhousing with them girls, those are females. And I know I know you keep grabbing certain areas. Hey, come on, bro. You gotta fall back. I gotta tell
see
my
now BMT, what you just said, that's gonna cause a lot of women, especially black women, to take pause.
Oh, okay. What I
Because
do this time?
you just said that you dated women with daughters and they daughters, like you're talking about the daughters are like older, teenagers like 16, 17 or something like that, and they're a little bit more, developed. And I understand exactly what BMT is saying. But see, if you date a woman and she allows her daughter to go to run around men in general, not just BMT, but men in general, dress any old kind of way, just run around with some booty shorts on, booty hanging out, and all that type of stuff, you're not teaching your daughters to have any self-respect for their body, let alone be worried about a man looking at them. So we're going to have to let that sink in. What type of mother are you that you allow your daughters to run around looking like that in the company of any man?
No.
Any man.
No. And I say that I'm not coming at nobody faith. I don't want y'all to think that, oh, BMT is messing with little girl. I'm not. I'm telling y'all from my experience, on this earth of dating women with children. I'm not shy to date no woman with a child. They still have a life to live too. You know, and that's realistic. But I'm all, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so the ladies are saying that the phrase "put in that situation" is a phrase that's problematic. So let
What the
me just
hell?
move around the
What happened?
panel. Let me move around the panel. Okay, up Mahogany, do you find anything that what BMT just said problematic? Mahogany, are you there? Mahogany went
I'm
away.
back. I'm back. No, I'm back. I'm here, but I'm back and forth, cooking and whatnot. So I didn't hear the
Okay,
last thing.
did you hear what BMT said?
I heard some of it.
Okay, BMT, go ahead and reiterate what you had said about the situation with the mother that you were dating and the daughter.
I was dating a mother who had children, and one of her children were coming of age. But she had predominantly daughters, and also, you know, I understand women live in the house, and I kind of felt off with some of the girls. They wouldn't put on clothes when I would come around. So I talked to her and said, "Hey, you know what? Hey, you need to tell your daughters that they need to put on some clothes when I'm coming through." And I would sometimes text. She was like, "Well, why are you looking at my daughters anyway?" Like, and I'm like, "Well, shit. I'm telling you that your daughters need to put on clothes when I come around, so that way these situations don't happen or there won't be no issue." I told her that out of respect. I don't know how they're taking that any type of way of
Can I,
bad if
can I
I'm
say,
as a man
Can I?
telling them.
I
can I,
just want to answer it real quick. Welcome, Miss Shajade. Give me one
Well,
second. I just want to respond to that.
welcome, Saida.
Saida, I'm
hi,
sorry. I got to
Okay,
respond
well,
to
I'm
that.
going to let Mahogany go, and then Sayeda, you can go, because I want to get the ladies' perspective, and then after that, I want to get D. Darrell's perspective, because he's also a man, and I want a
And
male's perspective on what BMP said, too. So
mm,
go ahead, Mahogany.
so that kind of reminds me of that whole Kevin Samuels thing. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not saying that that's the same thing with you, BMT. I'm just saying the situation. Um, the difference is that you came to her. Now, ideally, I would like to think that as a mother, her children are dressed appropriately. But guess what? We know that we just know that there's situations where that's not the case. However, oh my God, that's so hard because it's in my mind, especially if we're talking about little kids and stuff like that. I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a little girl. Um, but I know you, BMT, so it's like, okay, oh gosh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna be honest. As a mother, if a man were to come to me and say something like that, it would disturb my spirit because I don't look at them like that. I look at them as my babies. However, as a mother, my children would be dressed appropriately. So you got different types of moms out there, and ultimately, that is going to be a woman's response. I'm not going to lie. Like that would have been my response. Like, why on earth are you? Why would that would just be my response instinctively as a mother. And it doesn't make you look bad. It doesn't make her look bad. I think it's just an instinctive thing to defend your children, even though the fact is maybe they were dressed inappropriately. But then once again, it falls on her to do something about it. And so I will say this to you. I'm gonna end it all. When when a man is dating a woman, right, and he notices that maybe the child is not dressed appropriately, right there and there, if I was a man, I would be thinking, okay, this could possibly be a liability for me, far as um this situation, because I want a woman, right? I'm dating her. I see her as a potential mate. I want a woman that's going to raise her children up right, that's going to teach them how to dress right, act appropriately. So this might not be the woman that I probably want to continue dating. That and then you don't even have to say anything at all. You just end it because you already know that situation right there. You don't want no parts of. I hope that helps.
and BMT, I
Okay.
say, because well, hi everybody first. Hi,
Hi.
hey.
Hi, Sincere.
But what I want to say, why I'm saying that the statement is problematic is because it will cause one to look at you and say like, well, he's looking at my children, right? I think like when men are in these situations, or when you're now, I would take it from the place of you're coming over to visit, and then you see, right, that they're not appropriately dressed or way you would want them to be dressed, right? I would just simply not even enter the house. If I was a man, I would say, hey, um, I'll wait till you guys get dressed. Oh, I didn't know you guys were fully dressed. I'll wait till you guys get dressed. And just stay outside until they change their clothes, or don't come in. It's the way you say it. Like it's like a way it can be said to where it doesn't look like you're coming, or you're um looking at the children in that way. You know what I mean?
Me and you are in agreement. I'm basically saying the man should take himself out of that situation completely, like completely
Well,
take.
we're not. So okay. So first off, we're not dating anymore. The second off, the thing about it was, like I said again.
Well, hold on, BMT. Before you go, I want to give D Rail a
No,
chance
yeah, yeah, you
to
got it. You got it. You got it.
give his response. So everybody, please be quiet because D Rail has a echo. So if you talk, it's gonna echo. But go ahead, D Rail.
Okay, so I'm listening to what BMT stated, and I'm also listening to what the women have stated in regards to that. And so I'm kind of wondering, you know, no one comes into an environment expecting to see that. you know, that like if you're a person who's dating a woman and she has children, and her children are dressing inappropriately for you to be there, that's the responsibility of the mother. You should be able to ascertain in that situation, if you know a guy is coming to see you and your children are dressed a certain way, that's not fit for that guy to be there. If you're a guy that comes into that, I mean, what? So are we wanting men not to tell women that they think that their children are dressed inappropriately? It doesn't mean you're looking at them sexually. You just think from your own perspective. And this is me being. I have two. I have two daughters, and there are situations when, as they were teenagers, they attempted to dress inappropriately to go places. Or if people came to the house that I know were coming, I would tell them to change the way they would dress. And I felt if I felt it was inappropriate, they would have to change. And so I think that it is important that he opened up the dialogue. I didn't get from it. This is just from my perspective that he was looking at them in a sexual manner. He just looked at it from a position of that the children were dressed inappropriate. Now let's say this. Let's look further down the line, because let's say, you know, they're dating, but he's taking this woman seriously. Okay. And then this becomes from a position of coming from dating to engagement and then being married, where he's now the stepfather. Isn't a guy not allowed to say from his own value system how he would like the children to be dressed and carry themselves, being that he's part of the family? So if you have this certain level of value system of what you think is appropriate or not, it's only going to carry over to as the relationship progresses. So if you're a person that has this value system of you don't like children dressed in a certain way, why you should be able to express it in a relationship if it's going to go any further. Because if that's something that's ingrained in you in the dating, it's also going to come out if you're married. So if that's an issue with a man expressing that the children, damn, that may not be the environment you want to be in.
Right.
I didn't take from it any position in which I'm looking at the children, but if I'm there and I visually see children there, you can't help but visually see things, and you do have a right to have a position on whether, you know, from your own experience, and particularly if you already have children. If you're a person with children and you don't allow your own children or you was raised a certain way in which children didn't dress like that, that's only going to be ingrained in you, in which if you saw that in a dating situation, you're going to express your position. Um, I don't see anything wrong with that, being that you didn't come there with the idea of knowing that a person, that one of the daughters or the children would dress like that. That to me is an issue that the mother, you should not want, if your children are dressed in a way that's too showy, you should, and you know someone is coming over to visit you, you shouldn't want your children dressed like that around company,
I agree.
particularly around men.
I
That's the position. So I'm not, I did not get from him anything in regards to someone saying, well, you shouldn't be looking at children that way. No,
No,
you should
he
not.
said put in
I'm
that
just basing on what
we're talking
I mean. I'm not
put in-
jumping on him about that. I'm just saying I'm putting it in general. If you're dating a woman and that makes you uncomfortable, like, and you're just like you said, it's all about contact. Are you just now starting to date her and you see that happening, or have you
What's
let
with all these comments? Like these comments are wild.
um,
Like God damn, accountability done
it's
left long time ago. I
that
see this
situation.
now.
I'm not looking at the
The phrase
comments.
put in situations the problem, right? Nobody thinks like me personally from what you were saying. I get what you were saying. And I also understand that women need to be responsible for their household, like their children, right? And they shouldn't be inviting anybody over if they're lounging with their children like that. But I'm saying when you say put in that situation in the mind of a person, it was like, what is the situation that you're being put in? In what situation?
He's put in
So
a
that's what I'm saying.
situation where he's
Why
seeing
they came
children
about.
being,
That's why they came about.
he's
So I'm saying it's a better way to say it, right? I'm saying that if you're knocking
he
on
he,
the door, you're
he,
knocking on the door, you this is going on door, and what do? You just say, hey, I think you guys weren't fully clothed. I'll wait out you guys are at.
so when you're saying we have an issue with saying that he's being put in a problematic situation, how are you perceiving that? Like
No, he's
what?
having a conversation with the woman, right? And he says to her, you know, your children are supposed to be clothed. I'm put in this situation. So the phrase put I'm saying is a different way to address the same that you're trying to say, which is to say, oh, you guys were ready or what have you guys, get dressed.
But my question is, are you saying that sounds predator? I'm trying to understand. Like, does it sound predatory, or does it sound like someone can't control themselves? Like, I'm trying to figure out how are you all
To me,
perceiving this.
okay, I want to speak for me. No, I don't think it was predatory at all. I'm just saying for his own safety, for any man that's in that situation, for your own safety, you might want to consider not going down that road, because a woman should know how to appropriately dress her children. Before, if you're dating a woman and she has children, she should already know that. You shouldn't have to teach her that you need to tell your kids to put some clothes on. That's what I'm.
May
I
I
don't.
speak? May I
Yeah,
speak,
sure,
Faith?
go
Okay,
ahead.
so the thing about it is, and this is why I said, like,
Wait, before you go, BMT, real quick, D. Darrell, if you have YouTube playing in the background, or maybe you might have to turn down the gain in your mic, but something's going on with your mic that's causing the echo.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna try to. All right, I'll.
Okay, go ahead, BMT.
so me and this woman had we had a good relationship. We've been talking for a while. Again, she invited me to come over. Now, when I met her children, again, when you say, hey, you can come over and stuff, and I'm seeing something that makes me feel uncomfortable, I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't see it. So if the young women are walking around inappropriately around me, and then she like, hey, you can call your friends over. No, we cool with that. I had a talk with her privately. Hey, Darnasia, Melissa, you know what I'm saying? Now the baby, hey, that's a little taller. The baby want to walk around in a pull up in a t-shirt, fine. I ain't sweating over no little baby. But the other ones, they need to put on some pajama pants. Probably, you know what I'm saying, put on some decent clothes. I've even doggone stepped out the house. And she said, come on, what you doing outside? Baby, they got to put on some clothes, man. Like, I'm not being set up in those situations. Her own goddamn brother even shot at her about that stuff. But he was staying and he said, yo, when other men come around, that shit don't be cool. So I'm hearing people saying, well, they at their house. No, like it's like the accountability stick is not being held. And when she told me, well, why are you looking at my daughters like that? I'm like, yup. I said, I love you, baby, but I don't know how long this is going to really work. And we try to make it work. But if the thing of the system ain't meshing or working, no, I'm not doing that. I know a lot of men that wouldn't say shit and just sit there and play PlayStation, eat food, and lay up around in their own drawers. I'm not playing that game. That's how these situations be happening, where these things happen to people or children. I don't play that game. When the mother leave, I get my ass up and leave. She getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, baby, I'm out. I'm going with you. I don't stay in no room. I don't hang around no kids. I don't do none of that placating shit. The fact that I respectfully told her that, and people looking at me like, wow, why are you saying that to her? Why are you talking about her children like that? It's like, well, damn, this is where we having it, where if you ain't gonna teach your daughter how to properly hold herself, conduct herself when men are coming around, because when I have my brother or other men come around, I always tell my daughters, hey, I know you're wearing your little shorts for you because you want to be cool. Change your clothes, baby. I know you sitting on that couch. Put the blanket over your legs. I know you. I got to tell it to my daughters so that way they know how to maneuver. So that way they know how to carry themselves. I don't get why this seems like it's a hard conversation when it's an accountability.
For me, it's not hard, and I hope I didn't come off. I really wasn't trying to come off like I was being judgmental. I was just saying, and from the sick, because like I said, I wasn't here the whole time. From what you described that last time, you said you were dating somebody and she had children and they were dressed inappropriately. I was just saying maybe you should remove yourself from that situation, because that could be a sticky situation, especially. And then I don't know the age of the children. You said one was a baby, but if you're talking about older children, a lot of that does matter.
15 and 13 were the
Right.
older two girls, and then they had 2 more children. She had 4 children.
It's
So
just the way you say it, BMT, the way you say it and how you conduct yourself in that moment, right? Because you're setting the standard of what you're going to deal with, right? Or what you want to be around. So I gave the scenario of saying, hey, you're coming up the doorway and you knock on a door, you open a door, happen to see that everybody's not appropriately dressed or dressed the way you believe they should be dressed, right? And I'm saying there should be a standard. I agree with you that I would never have my daughters, they wouldn't be dressed a certain way if the male company was coming over. I don't care if it's family members or not, right? Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is it's just the way you communicate it, right? So I would say, like, okay, you're coming up to the door. Just imagine, like, you're coming up to the door, you knock on the door, you see that maybe there's short shorts or whatever stuff's going on, and it maybe even look like pajamas, right? So I would personally, just as a man, if I was a man, I would stand out there and I would just say, hey, I see that you guys are not fully dressed. I'll be out here waiting and let me know. When
nobody expects to see all. Look, in a perfect world, here's the thing about it, but see, here's the thing that.
No, but listen to saying that will set the standard also.
But see, that's the parent's job to set the standard. I know that's why I said I don't know if people heard what Faith was saying. If the mama is allowing that standard, let me know if you said that correctly, Faith. If the mama is allowing her daughters to operate like that around company, whether it be, and it don't always have to be men, it can be women too, then you're going down a dark, slippery slope. And so if I am her man at the time, and I'm telling you, as a man, what I'm seeing, the fact that she said, well, why are you looking at my daughters? I'm looking at, Broad, you crazy as hell. Because I got eyes, I can see too. If you don't see there's a problem with that, then what can I do? If you see that I'm the problem, because I told you that I see this problem, and you say that you don't see a problem, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you after
Okay,
that.
well, I see that Mela has joined the stream, and I want to go ahead and get her thoughts on this. Welcome to the stream, Mela, too.
Hi, thank you. The Okay, my statement would be, let's not get paranoid as to why BMT constructed that sentence, okay? He's not constructing that sentence because he has some nefarious intent. What my issue is that a lot of men they're not using direct language in relationship to what makes them uncomfortable in an environment of a woman that's too ignorant to exercise an instruction to her daughters that they shouldn't present themselves as being sexually available. And that, because that's a problem. That's a problem. A lot of people go around saying, well, dress how you want to dress and do what you want to do. The difference is, depending on the age of that girl, she's not aware of a man's nature. And if this guy, BMT, is coming into this household, all he's looking at is like, oh, damn, I'm going to have to beat guys off because, I'm just inviting more trouble in my life because these young girls have not been instructed by their mother to respect the concept that men view women in two different categories, at least two. Okay, it may be superficial, but that's what it is. Superficially, men view women in two categories: the whore that's sexually available, or the the angel that is not. And in order for a man to comfortably protect his flock, he has to know which one is going to be trouble and which one is not. So I'm not here to make accusations. What I'm saying, it is a viable curiosity to ask him what he meant by quote unquote that situation. And what I would like for people to understand coming from me, because he wanted to enter the circumstance of that relationship as a protector, he found it too much to handle because obviously the mother hadn't had the conversation of guarding, make sure you are aware that you're not to be perceived one way or the other in terms of inappropriateness. So I'm not here to make accusations. I'm here for the call of men to specify what their concerns are. So I'm not here to be accusatory. Okay. I want men to specify. Don't talk about this, that, and don't be so evasive. Women, there are ignorant women out here that can't conceive as to why they should teach their daughters why it's important to guard their presence and or availability, right? Because there is a society out here that will view a woman as being sexually available based on how she's dressed. And if that mother is too ignorant to understand that, then he's got a whole heap of problems on his hand that he doesn't want to deal with. And by nature of the fact that she accused him, indirectly accused him, what you looking at my daughters for, she was ignorant because she didn't understand that you have to navigate life in a protective manner. And that's what he was saying. When he viewed that she didn't have a protective mindset, he was gone. So that's all I came up here to say. I'm not trying to accuse nobody of nothing at all.
Okay, well said. Well said, Mela.
Yeah.
I see that we have two more people to join the panel. I want everybody to get a chance to get their say in. I see Reigning Woman has come back on, and I Am has joined the stream as well.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, Pisha.
Hi.
Hey, again, I'm gonna be quick. I'm so sorry. But I just want to come up because what BMT said. I posed this question, ladies. What can a man say that to provoke the way we think when they see us doing something that alarms them without us being offended? Why are we so eager to jump to defense. Men, especially, don't always speak in a nurturing tone, and oftentimes, a gentle tone. And who would they be if they were? Men's nature, is to say something, say what they mean, kind of mean what they say, and how it comes out is kind of how it comes out. But we have to be able to gauge their intention. And if you're not sure, maybe even ask, but don't become so defensive that we miss what is being said, that we miss the entire point. Because then when guys like with BMT, then when they just leave you alone, then we'll find a way, it was just as them. And we didn't get a full understanding. We just had a situation here in Texas, right here in my own area, where this man murdered, he assaulted, he sexually assaulted, and he murdered a teenager that he had been around since she was 15 or 16. He'd been around her since she was 11. And I'm not saying that she did anything wrong. I'm not saying that the mother did anything wrong. I'm saying that we have to understand that sometimes men and the men in our lives are our blind spots, just like we are their blind spots. That's all for now. Thank you.
Right. And sexual assault, I just want to put that out there, is never the fault of the victim, no matter what the circumstances is. But to me, it is a respect issue. Like, there have been times where I have visited with some of my cousins, and some of them will come out of the room. You know how boys have the morning wood, where they're kind of hard in the morning, they're going to the restroom. And I've witnessed that sort of thing. And it was offensive to see, because I don't want to, see your morning wood, but they were running out of their room with their shorts on and not, thinking to put on a robe or put on some pants or, cover themselves. So
Right.
It is a respect issue to the other people in the household, that you teach your children to have respect for their own bodies and respect for other people in the household. But let me go ahead and move over to I Am. Welcome, I Am, to the stream.
Thank you. I want to say hi to everybody on the panel. I want to ask BMT if he can kind of give me some more
Hello.
intel on that relationship. I want to know, like, how long was you with this woman? Or how long did you date her?
Do I need to go into every detail now, like a Monday night quarterback?
No. I'm just asking because I'm saying if you was with her for a while, couldn't you have spoke to the daughters and told them, like, hey, go in there and tell me, like, you guys have that kind of relationship?
No, that is not. No. You go to the parent. I don't see. That's the thing about it. If I wanted to go to the children, I could have done that when they were plopped down, sitting around me. That's not my place. I did it in order of the household. You go to the parent first, so that way, what does it look like for me, the boyfriend, to go pull a child to the side to go critique her on how she's dressed? That is that.
That's why I'm asked. That's why
No.
how long
I'm
were
just
you
saying.
dating? Or go
Well,
ahead.
we were dating. Like, I didn't get to go to her spot, because originally, whenever we would go out and we would go to the hotels, or we would go out and do us. Feel me? At my place. When she started saying, "Hey, start coming by my crib," I'm saying, I want to cook for you. I'm saying, we want to start talking about a little bit more serious-ish stuff. Cool. Okay, cool. I already knew she had kids. It didn't bother me about her having kids. You feel me? But I knew, and I'm saying, I met the kids at at the pizza parlor, or when we go out there do functions. It's a different thing when you go there and now people are more in a relaxed family setting. Whoa, what the hell is this? Like, this is different, because see, now you're showing how you truly are. When I see something that makes me feel uncomfortable, I'm going to say something. I'm not going to pretend. I stayed the night over her house a few times, but I would get when she would go to work, I'm going with her. I'm going back to my place. I'm not staying there. I'm not getting caught up with nothing.
Right.
She said
And
no.
what's important to emphasize is when you use language like that, getting caught up, right? It's considered, in my humble opinion, evasive. And what could be specified is that these are some troublemakers, and I'm not going to put myself in a position to have to defend troublemakers when I don't have to. You know, these are not my children. I don't have to defend them. And since I know that they haven't been instructed properly as to what moral concepts are, obviously, then I'm not going to put myself in that situation. And that's what I wanted people to be. Pardon me?
I'm sorry, Mela. I was just saying that's what I was trying to say too. Like,
yeah.
And
so I didn't want people to misconstrue, because that's why I pointed it out. It is easily misconstrued as to what he meant by I don't want to be put in that situation, and I wanted him to explain if he could. He may not be able to, but I know how to explain it in that situation, because a lot of people, they strike up their paranoid antennas and they think that a man is hiding sexual proclivities that he doesn't have. He is like, okay, I'm coming into this environment where I've enjoyed this woman and I see we can get together, but there's a bunch of troublemakers in the midst. So how well do I know her, and do I really want to get involved? You know what I'm saying? That's the angle that we should explore, as opposed to being paranoid about the evasive statement of I don't want to be put in that situation. That situation has a bunch of depth to it. Okay, so it's not necessarily as that woman had exercised in that relationship. Well, why are you looking at my daughters like that? That's an ignorant woman. What she didn't understand is that it was her job to inform her daughters about morality. Okay. And now I understand the whole, well, what if they're at the beach, and wearing bikinis and all this other, that's a different environment. Like if you have a planned outing and the girls want to show off their puberty development, that's something that can be discussed with your children. However, what I will say is there's a such thing as modesty, and men appreciate defending women who are modest. That's what they appreciate. And I'm saying that from the heart. Men appreciate women who know what modesty is, because they don't want any extra weight on their back other than what society is handing them.
Mela.
Yeah, it didn't have to be, a lot of people are prone, because of the evasiveness, where men don't explain, like, look, I have to defend you. Could you please not invite perverse nature, the more likely than not perverse nature of men out here for me as extra trouble on my back. Like I'm walking into this situation and it's like, okay, I'm actually going to have to beat a whole bunch of guys off these girls, because they don't know the nature of some men in this society. And that creates a troublesome concept. Like, okay, I'm not attracted to these girls. I'm not sitting up here walking around any old kind of way like, yeah, you must be sexually available. No, it's not about that. It's about, okay, I see right now I'm going to have to actually get into unnecessary situations because they don't know what it's like to be modest. That's my point.
Right. Exactly, Mela. Exactly. But now I want to go ahead and welcome Miss Topaz. Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Welcome.
Hey,
I
Topaz.
haven't become available real quick, so I want to come up here. It's been a while since I've been on your panel.
Don't you shun me.
I'm not gonna shun you, Mel. I
down.
love you. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I don't understand why you doing this to me on this good Memorial Day weekend now, Mela.
Listen,
Yes, happy
I'm a
Sunday.
step
Yes.
down, man. Like if hey, I
Hi,
apologize. No,
Um,
I
BMT, did
apologize
I
if
say
I fucked
something
it up.
wrong?
No. It's just that
Oh, okay. All right.
it's nothing y'all did, but I got people that are like looking at my character like I'm looking at young adolescents. And I
No, we
no no
don't
no
think
no
No,
no
that.
we're
no no
not.
No.
We're
no
not
no
looking
no
at
Well,
that
you're
at
not
all,
no.
BMT,
I
at
don't
all.
I don't want that energy on me. You understand me,
right.
Faith? It's not. I don't want that energy on me because I don't know any other way as a man how I can try to be respectful than talk to the other person I'm
Well,
involved with.
BMT,
So
it's
I'm about to
important.
bounce.
It's
I
important.
respect y'all, but I ain't trying to get my.
BMT. It's important that you communicated it the way that you did, and you brought the situation out there because the conversation does need to be had. And no, like nobody on this panel is looking at you like that. I know personally that you're not like that, and so does
Right.
Mahogany and the other ladies on this panel know that you're not like that. But
That's right.
there are other people that are probably like in the audience that probably don't know, and so that's why it's important to have these discussions because a lot of women do not understand how it affects men. So you don't have to step down. You don't have to be ashamed of anything that you said because you didn't say anything wrong at all.
No, you
Not on
didn't.
this panel.
He didn't. And what he meant by his statement, if I may enunciate and make it clear, what he meant by his statement, I don't want to be put in that situation, is simply this is going to be a problem because these girls have not been instructed as to um what it is to be damn, what the fuck? I just used that word earlier. But basically, I don't want to say decency because it's not that the girls aren't decent. It's just that they weren't instructed as to what is important to protect themselves. Okay? And that's all he was emphasizing as to why it would be troublesome for him. It would be an extra burden on his back to enter an environment where these young girls are not gifted with the wisdom of awareness as to what modesty affords them. Modesty affords them protection, so thereby they're assisting the man that enters the environment without extra burden. If these girls don't know what modesty is, that's a problem. Okay. And I do agree.
Absolutely. And can
Yeah.
somebody down there block the sex bot?
I did. I got it, Faith.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much, Topaz. But
Um,
Well,
I agree,
Yeah.
Mela. The conversation does have to be had, and I just want to reiterate: BMT said nothing wrong on here at all. He simply stated that he did not want to be put in that situation, and that situation is what a lot of men are afraid of. And we got to stop pretending that we don't know what he's talking about as far as that situation. He's not saying he was looking at that woman's daughter any kind of way. As a matter of fact, he was trying to tell the woman that she needs to step up and teach her daughters about having a little bit more decorum about how they're dressing
Modesty.
around men.
Exactly.
well, let's be
Modesty.
real. I mean, she's not gonna do that because she didn't see nothing wrong with it. That's how the kids felt like that was okay in the first place. And so I came up here for a couple of things, right? I'm gonna be quick. One, I have a daughter, and she is gonna be 22 later this year. And so from her beginning, I always talk to her about covering up. And then, like, let's just be real. There in the past, if you've ever had like, training or whatever, you know that there's a balance when you put on an outfit. Only one thing is supposed to be highlighted anyway. So if you have on a shirt that shows a little bit of the top cleavage or whatever, then most of the time the bottom half is covered up, or vice versa. If you have on a shorter skirt, then like the top half is covered up. You accentuate one thing at a time is the way I was taught. Second of all, it's supposed to be the appearance of impropriety. Okay, let's say BMT didn't even know, right, that this was a bad thing for the girls to walk around the house dressed like that. If somebody came over, like one of her male friends or her male family members came over, and they saw him sitting on the couch while the daughters are walking around half dressed, they could jump to any conclusion because we already have an over sexualized society anyway. They see sex where it's not. So even if he was like, nah, I'm on some black woman empowerment, let the girls walk around this day house, they can feel how they feel, and I'm a man and I know how to control myself. Now, what if another man walks in there and he sees that? Now you got to hope that he's that same enlightened. So it's the appearance. If any from the outside looking in, it looks bad. It doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna ask questions till after the end of whether or not he was doing anything illicit with those children. And then the last thing I wanted to say was that we as women know that certain outfits mean certain things. Okay, if you are a woman that has come into your own and you feeling sexual, there are certain times, certain places, certain events to which you dress a certain way to get certain type of attention. We all know that. Okay, and so therefore I will say that when we do that and we don't call accountability, then that negates when somebody has a legitimate claim. Because I myself had a legitimate claim as a grown woman in my own house. Okay, I wasn't in my parents' house, I was in my own house. And my mother's husband came over. I was in a regular ass sweater and some jeans, and I came out to meet him. And then he wanted to, have his little dumb ass thoughts. Like that shit right there. You know why nobody would believe me? Because they just assume that since everybody wants to just wear whatever they want to wear and all of this kind of shit, they assumed that I was dressed a certain way. So we're not going to be able to just jump. It's baby steps. Okay, we can't jump from a society where like you were expected to dress modest like 10, 20, 30 years ago, and now all of a sudden everybody's so empowered. We're not there yet.
No, we're not.
It's wrong. It's wrong for men to automatically assume that everybody that you look at, you supposed to be able to have sex with, but we got to get there first. So let's deal with reality and what it is today.
And that's what Rain and Woman was emphasizing. A lot of people, or women, I should say, are under the impression that men think as we do. Men have a, it's over this line or over that line type of way. I dare I say decorum. Like the way men communicate is in black and white. They're not looking at the gray areas. Women, we look at the gray areas. Men are more gifted in their communication by being specific and direct. For instance, there was a niece that developed into puberty. She wanted to wear a nice summer dress. However, it was sheer. And so my father-in-law, who had no sexual interest in her, but it could be perceived as so, okay, depending on who's listening in the foreground, in the background. He said she needs to put a skirt on. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like she needs, I'm sorry, what they call it, the slip. She needs to put a slip on. And he did that because as a man, they're looking to protect their own, right? Or who they embrace as their own. And it's not so much that, ooh, girl, I can see you developing real. Those are the perverts out there that real men are trying to defend against, they're trying to defend us against these perverts. And so when we have a collective, when we have these narratives where we misconstrue evasive statements as to, oh, he must be sexually attracted to younger. No,
Exactly.
no. You
Actually,
can't.
the pervert wouldn't say anything. The pervert would sit there and just be taking mental notes and imagining shit in his mind and thinking of a plan.
Exactly. When a man tells someone this is these young girls are not being modest in how they dress, and that's the problem, is actually a sense of defense for their
protection.
It's like, look, if you didn't know, I'm gonna tell you this ain't cool, as opposed to, oh, he must have been looking at them, like that's some ignorant crap. Okay,
right.
Go ahead, y'all, go ahead.
Well, because I'm about to go, but I really enjoyed this live, Faith, and all you guys up here. But I just want to make my point clear, because I really, one thing I don't want to do, especially me respecting him so much as a father, is for him to feel like I in any way was trying to jump down his throat. I was just basing it on what he said. And once he clarified how old the children were and stuff like that. But my main thing about that whole situation was, if you're just dating someone, and I just want to reiterate that, if it's nothing serious and you're just dating with someone and you see that from the get-go, you shouldn't have to. That's something that you might want to rethink. Like Mela was saying, that's what I was trying to say. Because that's something that a parent should have already taught the child. So that's something that you might want to rethink. I dated a guy with children. It's no different. It's the same situation. Children were unruly as hell. Me personally, if it got to the point where I had to say something, could you tell your kids to stop disrespecting me or whatever, I would probably just stop seeing that person. So that's what I was trying to reiterate. Don't even put yourself in a situation like that where you have to teach somebody how to be a parent. I'm not saying that he was doing anything wrong.
Exactly, Mahogany. And people, and that's why I introduced the question, because it needed to be made clear that there are people that can misconstrue and dissect and analyze it according to their own sense of folly, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, we are aware that not every man is trying to attack, girls just because the perverted society out here only looks at women as sexually available. You know what I'm saying? There's a society of people that exists that just look at someone as being sexually available. They don't care about your talent, skills, and ability. They care about whether or not you're dressing as sexually available. And when the burden of that is placed on a man's shoulders, it is very, it's just burdensome. It's like, look, we have to teach that there are sexual perverts out here, and these girls have to understand what modesty is for their own protection. And so that I'm not catching a case defending everybody that doesn't understand that they're quote unquote expressing themselves. I believe in somebody expressing themselves within the moderation of, what it takes to be aware of modesty. I think I'm talking a lot, but I'm just saying let's not misconstrue his sentence. And that's why I brought it to light, because I saw the propensity that his sentence was kind of evasive. And I wanted to just make sure that it was brought to light that this doesn't have to be looked at in a paranoid manner.
Okay. Well, I think people were asking what is that situation in terms of what he said. And so the answer is the situation is
because I wanted it to be brought on the panel. I typed that because I said, please explain a man's nature. Please explain what that in quotation marks is to the situation.
Okay, so that was you, Mel.
Okay, for y'all to just clarify it. I was like, please clarify.
Well, exactly, because we want what is that situation? Now we know BMT, so we know he was talking about so think about it this way, right? If you have a brother or cousins, once you started to grow up at a certain age, you probably overheard them say, "Man, I'm gonna have to beat this nigga ass," huh? They know when they have an attractive family member and niggas is gonna try it. They know. So
that's when they load up on the ammunition. That's when they load up on
and they know men and they know how men think. So that's not saying that they're trying to sleep with you or do anything wrong to you. That's saying that they know other niggas will. So that's the point, is that if you got somebody that's going to be protecting you, when they tell you something, we're never going to fully, in my opinion, understand what goes through a man's mind, because we wasn't in the male Congress when they talk about how they supposed to interact with women growing up, right? We wasn't in that. They didn't tell us. We know how we're supposed to interact with men. So they will never fully understand our mind either. So with that being said, if a man you trust and he has your best interest at heart tells you to cover up, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and listen to him and ask for clarification later, because at least in this point you'll be safe, and then later you can get the understanding and the clarification. And it still needs to come from a place of curiosity, not trying to check them for, why you trying to limit me? Well, because what if I'm not always there with you? Because that's how I raised my daughter, is okay, so when you grow up and you go off to college, when you go to school, okay, you need to understand that this is the thing that you can do. You can lessen the chances. It's not your fault. It's never going to be your fault, but you can lessen the chances. Okay. And
Right.
even if you have a lapse in judgment, I'm still gonna fight for you. But at the point but while I'm doing it, I need you to understand how this happened. It's not me berating you, it's me correcting and redirecting. It's a difference. So I
Or
think the way that we talk
victim
to younger
blaming,
women
victim
matters too.
shaming.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
victim
No
blaming or
victim
victim
shaming.
shaming. So Topaz, because a lot of women will jump on you and try to silence you because you're
Yeah,
trying to tell them how to prevent things from happening to them over and over again. They'll say
right.
that you're victim blaming, victim shaming, then they'll make you part of their victimization and you had nothing to do with it.
Right.
Right. And see, and I'm not going to go back and forth with those type of people because I feel like experience is the best teacher. And let me clarify because I know how that sounds, right? What I mean by that is I'm going to do my due diligence and say what I got to say. And I'm going to say it in a calm tone. I'm going to say it in a loving tone. I'm going to emulate as much as I can that is coming from a loving place. Now, what you do with that information after that is all on you. And if you come back and try to make me your victimizer, I'm gonna still be quiet because you know what? You're gonna keep doing what you want to do. As long as you blaming me, you're not gonna change. So you're gonna do it and it's gonna keep happening again. And now what you gonna do about all the times I wasn't there, all the times I didn't say it, and it still happened. So at some point, you're gonna have to, unless you're insane, come to grips with the fact that I'm not your problem.
Facts on facts.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
well, this was a great conversation. I mean, people, y'all showed up and y'all showed out. I want to shout out to BMT. Ladies, BMT did not mean, I have to reiterate this again because I don't want the sound bites to go out and all of a sudden BMT is made to look a certain way because that's not what he was saying. BMT is not about that. He is a protector, not a predator. And
Exactly.
ladies, we have to start learning to listen to our men too, because a lot of times they're trying to communicate to us about the what do they say, the sexuality of men or the nature of men. They try to communicate that with us, and we make them feel uncomfortable to communicate their nature by sitting up here and being accusatory of what it is that they're trying to tell us. We can't be accusatory all the time. Sometimes it pays to listen.
Right.
But I do want to go ahead and get into the final thoughts. Ladies, I'm going to go ahead and start out with Miss Topaz and work my way back to Mella.
Okay, well, so my point for this is like I rather just deal with reality, right? It takes time and generations to change certain thought processes, and we not there yet. So as it's for right now, if the fact of the matter is, if you have a community with 20 families in it, and one of those men is messed up, and we don't know which one, it's better to go ahead and cover up and be safe until we can suss that out. But then, and also in addition to that, there are certain things that are just good practice. I as a woman don't want to see a bunch of ass and tit walking down down the street. I just don't want that in my life. That's not a goal that I wake up every day to have. Okay, so even if once we get rid of the messed up person, can we also just kind of put some clothes on in 2022 and beyond? Can everybody just have on clothes? I actually like putting my outfits together, making sure like the colors, the matching, the style, and all that kind of stuff. I actually enjoy and have fun with that. So I don't mind putting on clothes because it's a skill. It's a talent that I like doing. Okay. But I really feel like some of this stuff could be avoided, and some of this is just, what about you? How do you feel? I don't have a need to be half naked every single day in every single setting. That's not a need for me. So I just want people to think about that. It's just, kind of think about why you have this need to constantly be exposed to every single person, and they have to do little or nothing to get, more intimate with you than other people.
Facts on facts.
All right.
All
So
right.
thanks for having me up, Faith, and bye, Mella. And don't
What?
listen, Mella. Okay,
Well stated.
don't do me
Well
like that.
stated. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Well stated.
I'm gonna do it, Mella. You don't tell me what to do now. All right.
All
Bye,
right.
y'all.
Much love.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, Topaz. All right, Miss Mella in the house. Showed up, showed out. Go ahead and give us your final thoughts, sis.
Without saying too much, my word would be laws of indecency exist for a reason, and keep that in mind. Let's look at the undertones of that word decency. Um, it, that's, I guess that's what's, people can take that and run with it. The laws of indecency against indecency exist for a reason. That's, I want to keep things concise so people don't get, lost in the mush, right? It's just, think about this. If I could say anything, the laws of indecency exist for a reason, and people that are curious enough to look it up can do so. And thank you for having me, Faith. Much love. Great live stream and commentary. I love you, baby.
All right, love you
And
back, Melon.
I mean that with a love of admiration, because I don't know you like that, but I'm saying I admire how you do what you do. Okay. Peace out, y'all.
All right. Thank you, Melon. Have a good one. All right, guys, it is the end of this stream, and it was an excellent stream. I want to thank all the people that popped up and showed out for the panel, had the discussion. Nobody got cussed out. We had a discrepancy with someone feeling as if their words were being misconstrued, and so we had to go ahead and get that situation taken care of. But all in all, it was a great discussion, guys. So I want to thank D. Durrell. I want to thank BMT. I want to thank Mahogany Roots and MJ, Raining Womb Man, Chaos Rain, Mela 2, Miss Topaz, and I forget the other guy's name. I think it was it Act 2, or I forget his name. God. But I've seen him before around live streams. I want to thank everybody that came up and contributed to the discussion and made the discussion and Sincere. Last but not least, not to forget my girl Sincere. So everybody showed up and showed out, and they had interesting perspectives. And I just want to say, this is the conversations that we need to be having with one another. Now, as for my own final thoughts, we as women, we do need to start holding each other accountable, because this is the only way that we are going to have a better class of women. A better class of women is not going to be had by sugarcoating, mollycoddling, and making excuses for our bad behaviors amongst ourselves because we are afraid to address each other, or we are silencing each other by, saying little things like, oh, you just jealous and all this other stuff. We can't do that. We as women, if we want a better class of women, we got to start, going hard on checking each other. We got to start opening our mouths and saying, hey, it's time for us to start developing standards as women. This behavior is unacceptable. Sis, you cannot show up at a family function or an event with children and think that it's okay to show your entire ass or your titties or your vagina. That's not what this is about. We have decorum here. We got standards over here. This is how we conduct ourselves over here. And if you're a woman, like Topaz said, if you're a woman that feels as if you got to be naked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in order to get some attention, then that is a problem on your behalf. That's an inside issue that you're dealing with, your self-esteem. And so you need to go and check that. It's not that the other women are jealous. It's not that these other women don't have what you have, because most women have what you have, sis. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but even the older women that are going to be grandmothers now, they got what you got. The grandmothers of today don't even look like the grandmothers of yesterday. So now these grandmothers are walking around here looking sexy. So most women got what you get. It's just that most women do not feel the need to put it on display all the time. And so instead of you telling the other women, oh, you just mad because you ain't got what I got, most of us got what you get. Most of us got it. Majority of the women nowadays, I'm just saying, in this day and age, majority of us looking good. We're maintaining our figures. So it's not about who got it and who ain't got it anymore. Most of us got it. So, you're making it a novelty when a man can just walk up to you and see everything you got, and he can go home and he can whack one off, and he done had sex with you 100,000 times in his man, because you left nothing to the imagination at all whatsoever. And this is the only time you get attention, is when you're out here halfway naked. There's a problem. I got attention from being the best wrestler on the female wrestling team. I got attention from being the best debater on the female debate team. I got attention for making honors all throughout my 8 years of grammar school and high school. Graduated class valedictorian through middle school, grammar school, and high school. Made the dean's list in college 4 years in a row. I got attention for doing things that were something to feel like it was an actual accomplishment. I did not get attention solely for my body. Now, of course, I had a body when I was younger. Still got one. But I don't get attention solely for that. And if you're getting attention solely for that one thing, then you have to ask yourself, is that the one thing that you got to offer in life? Is this the one thing you have to offer? You have nothing else going for yourself. Because just like you, I got some titties. I got some booty. I can show it too. But I have more self-respect for myself that I don't. And I still get attention. I was still able to marry very young. I married young. Okay? And I didn't have to do half of that. So something else is going on. And we as women, we got to start pulling each other's coattail. And like I began to say to Derail earlier about the infiltration of the bimbo movement into the level up movement. At first, when you had April Mason, women like her and Crystal Carrison and Chrissy, they were talking about leveling up in a good way as far as getting yourself together first as women. Yeah, they gave you makeup tips. They gave you tips on how to dress. They gave you tips on how to conduct yourself in social situations. But Pink Pill had Pink Pill for business women. Chrissy talked about the importance of you having your own money. So it wasn't just leveling up to be a gold digger. It was also you working on yourself. And April Mason talked about that too. But then some kind of way, the bimbos, the hoes, and the sluts came in, and they made this about a movement to grab a sugar daddy instead of a movement to make better choices in men. There's a difference between a sugar daddy and somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with, somebody that you feel is your equal. The level up movement did get infiltrated by the bimbo hoes and sluts. And as I looked at some of the women giving out advice, bad advice to other women, telling women, oh, you got to, let these old 90-year-old men touch on you. You got to jump up and down on some old penis to get the bag. The level of movement turned into getting the bag. And tell me if I'm lying. Because I know I'm not. And so there has to be a separation. The bimbo hoe slut movement is the bimbo hoe slut movement. It's not going to teach you how to get a person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. It's just going to teach you how to get a bag temporarily. And it should be separated from a level up movement that is about Black woman empowerment and not just finding a husband, but the empowerment of you building yourself up and becoming a whole woman so that you are relationship material to a man that deserves you. So with that, I have to say my piece on this. We got to stop making excuses for bad behavior, number one. If her behavior is so problematic that me sitting up here mollycoddling, making excuses, jumping her up and down on my knee, putting her on my breast, and suckling her in her wrongdoing, defending her whether that sister is right or wrong, that is dangerous and detrimental to the other women that watch this. And it's irresponsible. Because you know good and daggone well for yourself that that's not what you would want for yourself or any women in your family that you care about. And so we have to start acting like that with everybody. Not because we like the person. If I like you, I'm going to tell you stuff that's going to help you. But if I don't like you, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to let you keep going and bumping your head. And like Topaz says, if I tell you once and you want to continue on being a victim and try to make me part of your victimization, go ahead, girl. Because like she said, eventually, if I step back and you have me no more to blame your victimization on, and it's just you out here continuing to do the same stupid stuff over and over again and getting caught up, eventually you are going to have to come to terms with yourself. And with that, this has been a long stream, 4 hours. Thank you so much for watching to the end. But you know how I do. I have to end it with giving each and every one of you love. I love all of you. With that, I'm out. Peace.